What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 54. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Why, hello there.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And to Mr. Brett Murdoch.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you enter.
See, that's better than mine.
All right, no time, no waste here, so let's jump right into it. Final stage boss kicking us off here. Why are developers not using DualShock 4's touchpad? I have two answers for this. One, most games. Hey man, you jumping the gun. So the first one is most games are third party. Xbox doesn't have a touchpad, so why are you going to use that functionality, in a PlayStation if the Xbox doesn't have it? That's the easy answer. The other answer is, yeah, it's a touchpad. No one wants to use some gimmicky bullshit. Controllers have gotten to a point where you don't need all this extra stuff. We've pretty much perfected the controller. We don't need anything else like a touchpad or anything. So that's bullshit.
Yes.
How is that? How is that bullshit? It's true. We have more or less perfected
okay,
it.
come on. Like, you tell me it has nothing to do with the fact that the touchpad kind of sucks. Nothing at all. The touchpad does suck. Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would totally use it for key inputs and whatnot. Like, every time I have to type in a fucking password. But the thing is just rickety as shit. It is not a good touchpad.
The touchpad sucks. Yeah, okay, so it's three answers then. One, everything's third party. Two, actually, what was my two? I forgot about. Anyway, third one is it sucks. The third one is like the controller is pretty much perfect as it is, and the third one, yeah, it's a piece of shit. Like it barely works sometimes, or most of the time.
Like it has functionality buried in there. Don't get me wrong. Like I would
press that's a button. That's a functionality.
It doesn't work good for like precision selecting, but like you can still get some cool swipe effects in there. Like I would totally like to see like swipe left, swipe right on the touchpad to go through my weapon wheel or something like that, and free up another fucking button.
Yeah, but they can't do that because it would make too much sense.
Well, no, they can't do that because it would take addition. That comes back to your first point. Like, yeah, they're like, we'd love to do this, but so what do we take a bunch of developers, take time out of their day, pay them, essentially spend a bunch of money to make one system have a game that's better than another system? Like, okay, so then people are going to run out and pay the PS4, buy the PS4 version instead. They're like, yeah, and what, they're going to pay more money for that? No? Oh, so we're just doing it out of the fucking kindness of our heart? Well, that doesn't make us any goddamn money, so they're not going to do it.
There you go, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, if the playing field was even, yes, they would totally do it. I mean, I don't know if the Xbox does the Xbox have like motion sensors inside the controls too, the controller too.
Chris,
no,
I'm
but it
looking
has
at you.
Kinect. No, it doesn't. Yeah, the Kinect is the motion sensor.
Oh, okay. So see, there you go too. That's why they're not using any of the any of the 6-axis stuff inside of the controller either.
And they don't even use the Kinect stuff for the games either.
Yeah, and the 6-axis thing is actually pretty cool. Like my buddy Colby was telling me the other day that you can actually play Forza with the Kinect. Like you don't even have a controller. You just wiggle your feet. One is the brake and one is the accelerator. You just hold your hands up in front of you, and the Kinect like imagines a steering wheel in your hand. So you just sit there and pretend to drive a car, and you're driving a car.
Man, I remember seeing a video of that. It was like a prototype, like when the first Kinect came out, right? And that was the whole video. You saw a guy going like that, literally going like that. I'm like, this is the future, people. This is Kinect. It looks so stupid. It's just like, maybe playing it is different, but it's just like when you watch someone play VR. It's like you just have some shit on your head, dude. It just looked really dumb.
Well, like let's be honest. Do any of us look cool playing video games?
Yeah,
I make some stupid faces.
No, man, if you have that serious face, you're good. I'm talking about like all the, it's just weird. Like you just going like that. Like
you're cool for school.
Yeah,
that's
right. I wish I had a controller here, but yeah, no, having a controller in your hand, you're
looking blankly into the screen, like.
No, it's like you're watching TV. Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
It's cool watching TV.
Nobody looks cool watching TV either.
I do. Chris, what do you say, man?
No, the touchpad's bad. Like, I used to actually. Far Cry 4 is one of the few third-party games I think that actually implemented it, and it was more of a pain in the ass to use it than to avoid it in that game. Like, it did something with the map, and you could select stuff, but it was like all over the place when you tried to use it. And I was like, you know what? And when you accidentally hit it, it would fuck up your weapon wheel. I'm like, nah, fuck.
Yeah, get rid of that shit. That's why I don't use it. It's stupid.
Yeah, I just use it as a button. Like in Metal Gear, it's like when I need to get to the main, I hit the left side, and when I need my iDroid to hit the right side, that's it.
That's already with Dark Souls. Like it makes a damn fine button.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
That's
great
it.
button. Great button.
Isn't it some? Doesn't it do something in Demon Soul? Bloodborne as well. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It
One,
does
like, it selects your inventory depending on whether you hit the left or the right side.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to get the pose thing to work with the movement of the
Yeah,
controller.
because it's so shitty.
It's never worked. It tells you how to do it, but it's never worked. Unless
I'm
there's
not sure if
something
it
that
actually
turn
works.
on.
I don't think anybody actually uses that.
Riku said
Yeah.
he did it. Riku said he did, but then this is Riku we're talking about. He's the master of PlayStation. I never got.
He is the PlayStation Lord.
Exactly. All right, moving on. Next question. Do you miss instruction manuals? Manny, I'm looking at you.
Yes, God, yes, I miss the instruction manual. I friggin' that is part of my journey of getting games. You go out to the game store or whatever, you pick up the game, and on the bus ride home you read the fucking instruction manual. That's what I always do. Now what do you get? A paper for if you're lucky you get an advertisement. If anything, it's the paper for the DLC.
Yeah, I mean, here the thing is, the instruction manuals. Maybe I'm wrong here, but this is my theory. I think they went kind of extinct because every game has a super tutorial. And remember, there were no tutorials back in the day. It's like you had to read the manual in order to learn all the moves and stuff, and then you go in. Now they tell you every single little thing. So you get the instruction manual. It's
I
like,
disagree with that answer.
Here's the thing: the tutorials actually do not show you everything. There's a lot of things inside of Metal Gear,
oh, no,
itself.
Metal Gear's a special case, my friend. That's a special. I'm talking about most games like an Assassin's Creed or a GTA or a God of War.
Even Batman.
No, dude,
Even
they have character bios in them. They have the backstory in them. That has the control mapping.
All that is in the game, though. All of that's in the game now. Understand?
Yeah, I mean the controller mapping, sure, a little bit. Like I miss the whole here's what you need to know, or here's a little backstory about it, or here's a glossary of what all these fucking obscure symbols mean, instead of having to dig through the goddamn map to get to the legend and not knowing, like, I don't know, there's a chalice over there on the minimap. I don't know what the fuck a chalice does. Am I gonna spend the time to go through all the menus to find out what a chalice does? No. If I had a goddamn instruction manual, I'd flip it open to the staple part in the middle, which is where that shit always fucking is, because it makes it easy to turn to, and you're like, oh, it's a blank dungeon. But no, I don't get to do that now. They want me to spend 45 minutes in fucking menus instead of playing the goddamn game.
And half the time, the manual is like it's not even on the actual game. It actually has to log online to some stupid website that sometimes doesn't work.
Oh God, yeah, that's the quickest way to make me not interested. Be like, hey, you need to know something. How about you quit playing the video game and go over to the computer and check something? Like, here's an idea. How about I just fucking quit playing the video game? Fuck you.
No, I mean it's especially for PlayStation. Like what they'll do is you say manual, right? You go to the manual and then it connects to a website because it doesn't even have the control things inside the game. A lot of the advanced actions in Metal Gear weren't even in the tutorials. Like you had to go into some other things in order to find. Give me back. And then I remember, and I'm like, especially remember how awesome it was when you got an actual color one. It was like, oh my god, it's in color.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to bring up. I started not caring about instruction manuals when it started all being in black and white. I'm like, what's the point of this? And then once they started having these tutorials that practically play the game for you, it's like, okay, instruction manuals are completely useless.
And the other thing I hate is those stupid fucking load menus that say, hey, you can go into a room and you can use this. Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah, because they don't have instruction manuals anymore. Again, they're making instruction manuals useless, basically.
There's got to be a better way, because I mean, even getting the information to you within the game is still kind of flawed and broken too.
Well, and not in most games. I mean, in Batman, you go to this whole tutorial where they teach you from beginning to end how to play and do everything, use your tools and whatever. And then instruction manuals, the reason they have here's the lore, here's all this stuff, because games were very limited back then. You couldn't have huge cutscenes. Now you have huge cutscenes that explain everything. You have codexes like in Mass Effect. That is an encyclopedia of everything. The games are huge now, and they have all this data in them. So it's like, okay, we have all this data, and you can access all this data, so why do we need to print it in an instruction manual? Because it's a part of the game. They don't want you to read a book, and also they want to cut costs. Like that's
of course, yeah.
And I mean, that's a main incentive. But the other incentive is like everything is in the game, and they want you to be in the game and getting that information, and not having to like get it from a book. Yeah. Well, if you have to link to a website, then that's kind of flawed. But other than that,
not playing the video game. to look at that. Like, I can have an instruction manual open and be like have it by my side and be like, who the fuck is that person? And flip open the dossier kind of part of it and be like, oh, they're from this game. Like, but that would, you know, Witcher would be a great example for something like that. Because I can tell you how many times I stopped playing that game and be like, who the fuck is this? What the fuck is this thing? What does this symbol mean? Like, there comes a point where there's a wealth of information. And yeah, like, you can go to a database, but half the time it's like really awkward to get through. I really like just the shorthand essentials on a piece of paper. And I find myself writing the shorthand essentials on a piece of paper. And then I find myself saying, I shouldn't have to do this.
Right, but you don't have to do that. Just you know, because they're accounting for younger people, not us, not the old farts here who are like, why do I need to go on the internet to find out? Why don't you print it in an instruction book? Now kids have tablets and phones. You just look that shit up right there while they're playing the game. That's your instruction book. It's like, who is that? Wikipedia, man. Bam, and they just pull it up. That's why.
Give me back my manuals. I mean,
yeah, I'll admit I'm being an old man here, but I won't admit that I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I'm there with you, but it's like...
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we all miss them, but at the same time, what we get as instruction manuals are kind of shitty, so it's like, okay, just give me all that stuff in the game and forget about it. If you're going to be a cheap black and white bullshit with stupid paper...
I remember some games would actually, like, you know, I'm going to put Metal Gear, I mean, even Final Fantasy, that, you know, even to the, like, up to 10, or, you know, one of the later ones, they still had really nice instruction manuals. Well, see the Japanese ones. The Japanese games had those really good instruction manuals.
Yeah, I miss good instruction manuals, but now the way they are, you can keep them. I don't want them. The way they are now, they suck. All right, last question here. And by the way, Ronan, see, we got to the third question within the first 10 minutes. He was like, you motherfuckers took 50 minutes to get to question number 3 last week. What the fuck?
Well, we got it's a heated debate. That's why.
Hey, man, it happens.
We got to keep you guessing, man. We got to. You know, we think we're going right. We're going to dodge left. We got to keep it that way.
All right. This is a fun one. What game do you think has the best AI? Yeah, see, this is a tough one because I've never really played a game with really good AI. The closest I got was like when you put Uncharted, the original Uncharted, on like hard, super hard, because you took the same amount of damage, but the enemies actually like try to outflank you and be smart. Right. And in the next game, obviously, it was just like you have to shoot them 50 million times to kill them. That's cheap. That's not good AI. They have to actually try to outsmart you. Actually, you know what? I have an answer. Go ahead, Chris.
Some of those crazy Yeti guys in Uncharted 2, holy shit, they were fucking crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I do have an answer. Alien Isolation. That fucking alien, you could tell that thing was, you know, thinking. Like it always tried to outsmart you and stuff. That was probably the one enemy in a game where I'm like, oh fuck, like how do I outsmart this guy? Because he knows what I'm doing. This is insane. But most of the time, game AI is kind of dumb. I'll just be honest. It's kind of stupid.
I mean, they always have to find a level of AI for, you know, where it will be fun or not fun. Because I mean, they obviously could make the AI super smart.
Yeah,
and,
they can.
And all of a sudden, the game winds up not being fun. And I think that's, you know, that's kind of a weird, you know, not kind of weird, but it's like kind of a, you know, balance you have to find.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I know people have said the Far Cry games, right? Didn't they have like really smart AI or something like that back in the day?
I don't know if it was
or one of those.
I think it was open world, but I did not think that AI was very good. Shockingly, an AI I found myself Wolfenstein: The New Order. Like that, it flew under everybody's radar, including my own. It's a really solid game, and I can't tell you how many times in the game I found myself like shooting down a corridor or something like that, and all of a sudden like a grenade just like tinks around a corner from a blind spot that I didn't see, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I dodge back, and 3 fucking Nazis come charging around, and I find myself, you know, like locked in a bad position. I'm like, oh shit, and you have to go dodge into a room and then hide behind a wall and just wait as wave after wave of them come. Like, it did a really good job of putting enemies behind you. Like, they did a good job of noticing, hey, all my friends going down this hallway are getting killed. I'm going to find another way around, and then I'm going to throw a grenade at that motherfucker.
Yeah, see, that's smart AI. By the way, the game I was thinking about was Fear. Everybody said that back in the day, like the first-person horror game or whatever. It's a shooting game. Oh, yeah. So that had good AI. Yeah, most
Fear. I'll say Rockstar consistently has good AI. I mean, GTA 5 had good AI. Max Payne 3, the enemies they were really smart in Max Payne 3.
Yeah, especially in like it got to that point where you're at that airport. It's just like that place is.
That was
hard.
Crazy. Yeah, that was that place.
And
was
it's not, and it's not the amount of enemies. They throw a decent amount of enemies at you. They just know they're just really good at getting you.
Yeah, they try to flank you and keep you pinned down. And yeah, it gets tough. They were pretty smart in that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'd say Uncharted had good AI. Last of Us, they were smart in there. I give that credit. I want to say Killzone 2, they were pretty fucking hard, the Hellgast in there. They were crazy. I'd say that's it for me. I'd say I give it up to Rockstar. They come up with fucking good AI.
Yeah, I don't know. GTA games don't really have that great AI though.
Well, I mean, just the overall, not just the enemies, but like look at the interactions with the people and shit. You know.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm just thinking about enemies. Yeah, I guess. All right. Anybody else have anything else to say about this one?
Anything Bethesda does?
You think they have good AI? Because Bethesda, it just seemed that was one of my complaints about Fallout 3. It's like, okay, just run at him. Like they didn't even think. It's just run at them.
Well, I mean, it depends. Are we talking combat AI?
Yeah, well, for combat AI,
like Skyrim has an immersive world where characters go through a life cycle and then interact with each other, whether you're there or not. Like they are a fully fledged artificial being, limited as they may be. So, are we talking about just how good their battle tactics are, or how advanced of an artificial intelligence they are?
Yeah, the question is strictly just best AI, so it isn't limited to just combat. Because usually when you hear AI, you think combat. That's the first thing you think of. But yeah, if you think about the overall the AI, then it'll kind of opens up the gates a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you don't think of it that way, then it pretty much comes down to which corridor shooter is best at flanking you.
Yeah.
It then comes down to rendering. It's the whole Forza paradox where the more you limit the gameplay, the more you can dump into that said gameplay and polish it.
Oh man, you're gonna get flack for that. You always get shit for that.
I'm gonna coin that ideology, the Forza paradox, where when you limit yourself in the broadness of your gameplay, it allows you to specialize in the gameplay that you do offer, which usually gives you a highly polished version of said thing, and it's not that wouldn't be.
Here's the thing, though, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, there's everything has to have its everything has its limits. Okay, you either have amazing AI or you have amazing looking graphics. That's not a bad thing. I mean, as long as you can get graphics or control. So I mean,
No, and I agree, and I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. I just know somebody's gonna get really upset at me for putting it that way.
And I'm gonna take a little bit of that flack from you. The Order does the same exact thing. Very limited game, and that's why it looks like fucking good. God of War games, the same exact thing. There's a very limited. The entire world is just what you see. There's no world outside of what you can see, and that's why those games look that good. So it's not just Forza that does it, or racing it. A lot of games.
Something I love on the Pyre. Do I really think that a Souls game would have the combat tightness that it does if it were in a world as large as Skyrim? Fuck no.
No, of course not. Yeah. Let's just be honest.
No. Yeah. That would be a huge mistake to put a Souls game in a world that big. First of all, you're terrified going 30 feet in that goddamn world, much less 20 miles.
I think that also the smart game design that they put together for it, where essentially it's not an open world that you're in, but there's a lot of choices of where you could go.
Mm-hmm.
Where it kind of the levels pretty much fold in on themselves, especially in Bloodborne.
Yeah, it's great level design that's only possible because it's within a limited scope.
Yeah, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually kind of wish more games were like that because I kind of got more out of Bloodborne than some open world games. I love that old school design that's deliberate. That lets you know, hey, this was deliberately designed by a group of people. This is cool.
And see, that was you pick a thing and you do that thing the best. And that's the weird thing is Bethesda used to be the people that their specialty was an open world game where you could go anywhere and do anything. And since then, everybody's kind of trying to imitate that and not doing it as well. And it's kind of washing out the flavor. Like, pick something and do it really, really, really well, and you'll find yourself a niche. Or do a little bit of everything. But here's the thing: only one game can be the king of do a little bit of everything before they all start becoming copies of each other. So at this point, where every game's trying to do a little bit of everything, like really focusing and specializing on something is kind of a breath of fresh air.
That's some damn truth, man. All right, let us move on here.
You ever going back to that? You ever notice that now instead of the corridor shooter being the kind of game, now it's like it's the open world game is like the de facto game that everybody makes.
Yeah, that's true. Even when I was playing Batman Arkham Knight, I'm like, I kind of miss corridors and going inside of buildings and shit. You know, it's like everything.
That was actually my biggest disappointment with the Batman. As much as I like that Batman game, that was part of my disappointment. Where especially when it got to those, those kind of tailored situations in the game, I was like, oh my god, this is why I like this game. And then we're back in the open world and tank, blowing shit up with a bat tank. Yeah, I feel like those are the stronger moments.
Yeah, because like the first two Batman games, they were deliberately designed. I enjoyed that very much. Going inside of buildings and they were just designed in a certain way. It was cool. And now it just dumped you in there. Seemed even with Metal Gear, I'm like, I kind of wish I could go inside more buildings in this game.
They're like infiltrate this base. Okay, so you're infiltrating the base. Oh yeah, by the way, every single door is closed.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here, Mr. Keon Mitchell, with our next few questions. With Microsoft being very aggressive with their bundles and exclusives this year, do you think they can slow down the sales of the PS4? Very good question, because Microsoft, man, they had a whole week where every single day they were like, here's a new bundle, here's a new bundle, here's a new bundle, here's a new bundle. They're trying. Who knows? I mean, it has to come down to the people if they decide that, they want that over the PlayStation 4. But it's definitely a smart move. If PlayStation's dumping out a bunch of bundles, you better put out a bunch of bundles too.
Speaking of bundles, has anybody seen that really ugly Call of Duty bundle for PlayStation 4? Oh God.
Yeah, that thing looks bad. But
that thing is horrible. You know what? I mean, I tell you, the friggin' one that they had for Xbox looks way better.
Yeah.
Much classier looking system.
I gotta say, all the customized consoles I saw for the bundles for Xbox One look pretty good. The Forza one, even like the blue one, that looks nice.
Oh, that was the only one I didn't like. I feel like they phoned the Forza one in.
I like that color though. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, but the Halo Xbox.
So, it still looks nice. Like it's a different color. Like they're not making colors. It's just black. Like the only one that was different was Titanfall. And so
like really not a racing stripe. I mean, come on. Nothing. Not a Porsche symbol. Not a something.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I don't know.
It's literally a blue Xbox, Tony.
It's a blue Xbox.
It's a blue Xbox. Yeah, it's a blue Xbox.
Well,
it's a pretty shade of blue. It's like this kind of grayish powder blue.
Nah. It's deeper than that. It's not old. It's not like old man blue. It's not
no.
Old man blue.
Your grandpa's golf pants blue. It's a nice blue. I think the Guardians, the Halo 5 Guardians one looks nice. I just saw it tonight on because they had a big ad on Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Halo 5. So
in an Xbox.
Fear the Walking Dead.
I'm like, I already do. Just give me the game.
By the way, Fear the Walking Dead is a really good show so far.
Yes.
Yeah, it is actually. I've watched there's 6 episodes. I saw the first 5. I saw 3 in a row. I'm like, damn, because the first episode was hard to watch. I'm like, this is boring. I don't care about
it. It was boring, and then by the 3rd episode, I was like, wow, I actually care about what's going on. Like, I don't miss Rick at all.
Carl. By the second, Carl. By the second episode, I'm like, yo, okay, this show's cool. I like what they're doing with it. All right, so they could. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't think it's going to slow down the sales of PS4 too much because PS4 is just that system now. Everybody is getting it because it's the video game system. Just like Xbox was the video game system last gen.
I think people are looking at this wrong. Can I throw an idea at you guys?
No.
Fine. Fuck you. I'm out of here.
He is one of those.
Brett Murdoch out.
Go ahead, dude.
Okay. So everybody thinks that this I'm done eating my burrito, so I'll pop back on video, give you guys a visual representation. Okay. Any minute now. Okay, apparently I'm not. Anyway, everybody wants to think that PlayStation and Xbox are pushing directly into each other, like some kind of Vegeta Goku Kamehameha battle. Like it pushes back and forth this way. But I propose that there's actually a buffer zone of how long it takes this idea to bleed through the entirety of society. The thing that the techies get on top of takes a while to permeate through the rest of the people. So it's not so much that Sony and PlayStation are each fighting each other as much as they're vying for the attention of us, a group of people. And so what you're going to see happen is Sony right now, I'll be honest, is resting on its laurels. It is not knocking it out of the park right now. And that's fine because it's in the lead. But if it continues to do this, while Xbox sits on its laurels, everything would also be fine. But Xbox is quite frankly, they're pushing right now. They're doing the whole underdog behind thing. And it's exactly what I like to see. It's the benefit of a competitive market. Xbox is bringing it. And if you continually see Xbox bringing it while Sony sits back and rests, yes, you will see a change. But that change is going to take more time to saturate than this holiday season. It could be up, it could be up in the air for next holiday season. If Sony doesn't do something awesome or bring us some really good exclusive content or something, or court the fan base a little bit more, they've been kind of quiet and just counting their money. So if they don't come in and Xbox keeps pushing hard, I think you could see this change, but it wouldn't be for a year from now, because it's not about what you, me, or Tony, or Manny, or any of us think about the Xbox. It's what our aunt thinks about the Xbox when she's buying it as a Christmas present, or what Timmy down the street, 12-year-old Timmy down the street thinks, and these are all varying levels of in the know. So no, I don't think that there's anything we could do in October to soil the Sony's reputation badly enough that in a month it loses its leading status. And I don't think that there's anything that Microsoft could do to bump them up to leading status, in a month. It would have to be something that's all over the fucking news.
That's a good
Microsoft
point.
saves a truckload of puppies with the power of the cloud.
Very interesting what you're getting at, though. You're talking about public opinion, basically, and I think you're right. That's what it has to be now, because right now, PlayStation is the video game system, right? That's the public zeitgeist. That's the word you like to use. So how do you change that? Microsoft has to do something that gets in people's good favors. Too bad Oprah isn't around anymore, because she was pimping Xbox, man. That shit would sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit you do. Oprah was basically a mainline into American public zeitgeist. That's what it was. That's why Oprah could be like, this book is on the book list. Boom, instant seller, because people didn't even think about that shit. Oprah's already in their living rooms, already in their heads.
Exactly. Why do you think the Wii sold so well? Why do you think the Kinect sold so well? Because they were on fucking Oprah. People are like, oh, okay, Oprah likes it. I have to buy it. That kind of bullshit. So too bad there's no Oprah anymore for this shit. But yeah, this year it ain't gonna happen. Sony has to really fuck up in order for them to lose it this year. But remember, Sony isn't exactly resting on their laurels either. They're coming out with a bunch of bundles this year too. And next year they're bringing heat.
Out with bundles, but they're not coming out with anything like huge in terms of exclusives.
No, that's next year. That's next year. This year they don't have any.
See, the thing is that, you look at their, the press conferences. They got a lot of really nice, really nice fanfare for it. For even at the Japanese one, because they just look like they just have a lot of things that are in the pipeline. They just have yet to come out.
Yeah, exactly. So next year should be pretty interesting. Actually, I want to jump on the Japanese thing, because everyone keeps talking about how Sony doesn't have any exclusive games. They actually have a bunch of them. They're just Japanese games. So it could be death by 1,000 cuts. You get these little bits of sales, but if you get a lot of these little bits of sales, it may actually help them out in the end. You know what I mean? Because a lot of Japanese games are coming out now, especially this year, and even more so next year. I agree with
that. But I don't think the idea of a system seller is dead. I think it's just changed. Like, you need a big game that's essentially like the mascot of games. You need, I don't want to say a Call of Duty, but you need a kind of a Halo thing. That fortifies your brand. Yeah. So I think it's still necessary. And I'm not even saying this is a bad thing, because in the situation that I propose, when Sony comes out with all of these big games next year, they're going to be hard to compete with again. So they know that they have the time, and they're utilizing the time to bring out some killer IPs. Hopefully, fingers crossed. As a Sony fan, that's what I would like to think. But what I'm talking about right now is from the outside looking in, people who aren't in the know, there's not a whole lot, Sony's not walking into the room and swinging around a 9-foot cock. That is just not how it's going. But, it may be the bigger dog in the fight right now, but it is not, to the casual observer, a shutout kind of deal. So I guess what I'm getting at is we're going to see some growth, but Sony right now has the time on their side to be able to invest in these big IPs. So it should be investing in these big IPs. It should be bringing new things to market. It should be working on its Sony VR. So I'm not even saying that they're not doing everything right. I'm just saying that right now is a time of rest for Sony, and that's part of the natural cycle. You know, it's the yin to the yang. They're resting right now, and hopefully they're resting to bring out some big awesome shit. But if they didn't, then Microsoft would be an advantageous point. If they do, then Microsoft just have to constantly keep producing. They don't have the luxury of, sowing their oats and then waiting for them to grow and then harvesting everything and bringing it to market. They do not have that. They have to constantly, every quarter, have something killer. Every month have something kind of new on the shelves. They are in the same position that Sony had to be in last generation towards the middle, where you have some stuff to make up for. So you need to start throwing your money at R&D. Start throwing your money at IPs. Some of them are going to be crap. Some of them with Sony were crap. But you know what? We got some really good ones. And it was only because you took a chance on the underdog, being the underdog yourself, that we ever got something like Infamous. Yeah, it was from the makers of Sly Cooper, but it was not anything like their pedigree had done. They took a chance on a developer before anybody wants to argue that fact with me.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what Microsoft needs to do. Throw money at developers, bring out some awesome new shit, produce more consistently and frequently than Sony, because Sony most likely, the way that, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this too, I'm just bringing it tonight, I guess.
Uh-oh.
The way Microsoft fucked up was a very public and embarrassing way to fuck up. One of the biggest public displays of fuck-uppery that I have honestly ever seen in my 25 years of fucking gaming. Like, it was egg on their face, and that is not something that happens regularly. And that was when Sony was ready to fucking pounce. They were ready that day to drop a good bombshell, and they fucking did. You're not going to see Microsoft be able to get a hit like that in. Or at least I wouldn't wait for it, because I'll be honest, I waited 20 years to see one video game company sucker punch another video game company that fucking completely. And it was like a heavyweight boxing match. But that shit doesn't happen often. Most of the time it's a slow crawl, like Sony had to do through the entire run of the PS3. So Microsoft's going to have to participate in that slow crawl and have that fucking just be ready in a prime position. And if Sony stumbles, fucking pounce on them.
Yeah, and it also helps that they don't have Don Matrick anymore fucking things up for them. That guy, man, ooh, boy. Yeah. I was watching some of those videos. It's like, oh yeah, if you can't get online, we have another system that's available for you that does play offline games. It's like, so either get an Xbox One or go fuck yourself and get a 360.
I like that it was Jeff Keighley who just questioned him on that one. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and
telling people to go buy an Xbox 360 because they can't play Xbox One games?
Yeah, and people, I don't like Jeff Keighley, but he jumped on it because John Matrick gave that bullshit answer. Oh, we have another product that caters to those people, and Jeff Keighley was like, so you're telling people to get an Xbox 360 if they can't get online. And then he was like, blah, 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 blah. It was hilarious. But yeah, here's the thing. Sony didn't really sucker punch Microsoft. Microsoft kind of like sucker punched themselves. Like, they fucked up bad. Sony didn't have to do shit. But yeah, go ahead.
They just literally fell on their dick.
Yeah.
Well, I say sucker punch because it wasn't like if you're imagining this as two boxers, it's not one guy throws a punch and then gets clipped in the face. It's one guy standing in the ring and then just drops his gloves and looks off into the middle distance, and the other one goes, okay, and punches them square in the fucking jaw. Like, it was almost sad. Like
See, I wouldn't even say that's what happened. I think what happened is they were getting into the ring, and then the other boxer, as he's getting into the ring, he fucks up somehow, slips and falls out. And it's like, shit, now he has to crawl back into the ring, look at all embarrassed.
Runs over and punches his prone figure.
Yeah,
that's still bad sportsmanship, don't get me wrong. Hilarious antics, a great show, probably pretty good business. Not really super moral sportsman-like behavior.
No, it wasn't moral, but hey,
It's like, hey, are you down? Come over and kick you in the ribs a few times.
Yeah.
Spit on you on the way out.
Oh man! All right, let's move on here. Second question. What are your thoughts on Microsoft buying the Havoc engine from Intel? Yeah, that happened on Friday, so we can talk about that on Throwdown.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, it's actually a smart move because pretty much every single person out there uses the Havoc physics engine, which
Yeah.
is kind of sucky because the Havoc physics engine sucks ass. Right,
Yeah, why are they
Chris?
still using that, man? That shit
Like,
is like
get rid of that
15
shit.
years old. Yeah, I mean, they
They
keep
never
updating it.
improve it. They never improve
Yeah.
it. Everybody still flops around like they're like rag dolls.
Yeah, they don't bother putting any like motion capture animation on the death, so they just ragdoll, just fall
Or
over.
like
Okay, Chris.
or there's no weight on any of their
I know
body
what you're gonna
parts.
say, Brett. You like kicking around the bodies in Dark Souls, and I do too. I like the little meat puppets
No,
on
I
the
was just gonna
floor.
say, as a community, we were so vocal that they brought it back. They're like, "This is shit. It's unrealistic. It's unimmersive. We're taking this out of the game." And the Souls fans were like, "No, we like kicking our corpses." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Fucking seriously?" Like, yes. I'm like, "Okay, we're putting it back."
we did. I do enjoy that, the little meat puppetry, but that's it. Like, it's in everything else, and it just looks bad. It's only funny in Dark Souls when you're kicking around a knight who was owning you for like 5 tries, and you finally killed him, and then he's just a sack puppet on the floor. And you
Yeah, and it's not like it's also not like it takes into account the heavy armor that this guy had on. No,
Yeah.
he's made of like a Raggedy
She's
Ann
meat.
doll.
Yeah, he's just meat. So yeah, here's my question. What? Okay. Okay, the Havoc's physics engine sucks. I think we could safely say that. Why buy it if people are going to start phasing it out anyway? You know,
Who says they're phasing it out?
like aren't they? Isn't that what's happening now? Because
No, not at all.
I'm seeing that logo less and less in games, or maybe I'm just playing more exclusive games now. But I'm not
No.
seeing it as much as I used to.
Most
That's about as true as saying the Unreal Engine is on its way out.
Oh, but it isn't. The Unreal Engine is still, destroying everything. But is it really a smart move? That's the thing I'm asking. Is like
I think it's a good move. I mean, it's
it's a shitty physics engine. It's just
it's a
Yeah, but
it's a shitty physics engine, but every single Tom, Dick, and Harry uses that.
Yeah, they
shitty
want that
physics
licensing.
engine.
Yeah, if
I
you
guess that's
license
what-
Havoc, you're licensing Microsoft. They want that licensing money.
Yeah,
and
and-
people still use it. They don't want to think about coding that stuff, right? So
Mhm.
just throw that in there. Boom.
Yeah,
And
I mean-
they'll upgrade it. Think of it this way, Tony. They didn't buy an engine because it's awesome. They bought a pre-installed customer base. Now they
I
already
gotcha.
own Havoc Engine, and when they come out with a new Havoc Engine, it's still going to be the industry standard by default.
Yeah, because everybody is using that. I guess that makes sense. Because the first time I'm like, Havoc's physics engine sucks. Why would do that? But then it's because everybody.
It's exactly what I was just talking about. Microsoft is doing what they need to do, and they're just investing. They're looking for things that they can use. Because if they say like, we get the Havoc engine, we can build a new Havoc engine and then make that new awesome Havoc engine exclusive to only our games, so we can come out and be like, only on the power of the 360 can you burn a hole in a wall with your eyes and then kick a robo soldier in the fucking chest. And people are like on PlayStation, be like, I want to do that shit. Why can't I do that? And they're like, we're still sitting here with like Iron Knights stuck to our ankles. So like they're playing a long game. That you're not going to see a return on this investment for a few years, I would imagine. And that honestly makes me really excited because it's exactly what I was just talking about Microsoft needing to do. They're not looking to be like, oh, how can we turn around? How can we buy the rights to this thing that's going to come out in 6 months? It's not cheap business. They are looking to build a better product. And I can't say it's because they love us and because they want us to have the best things that they can make or they're truly passionate about their craft. But you know what? They're still trying, and as gamers, I mean, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, competition, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
I mean, the thing is that maybe they have to offset the Blu-ray drive costs.
Yeah, because they have to pay Sony for that. That's
They have to
true.
pay Sony for that. But like, there's two products that are for Sony PlayStation that are Microsoft properties. Like they also have Minecraft as well, which is they're still making PlayStation 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And man, if Sony was smart, they would have like, hey, you want your kids? You know how your kids like Minecraft? Why not let them play Minecraft on the go with the PlayStation Vita? They totally missed that boat. Totally missed that shit. All right. And he just goes, thank you guys for all your hard work. I like this one. P.S. Brett, you're my dude, but it's just video games. Don't take it so seriously. Hey man, we're all passionate. I don't know why he singled you out.
Because I yell a lot, but don't get me wrong.
It's because your soapbox is so tall.
Yes.
Well, it's good for my quads climbing up on that thing. I may sound like I'm about to have an aneurysm, but I really just that's just how I talk when I get passionate and talk with my friends. I'm not really about to go strangle a hobo. It just sounds like I am.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna totally bring that fire with me into some Dark Souls 2 tonight. I'm going to punch the shit through that game. I'm gonna double cestus. I'm gonna boxer that whole fucking game. Because that's the manliest way you can beat that game. And that's where I'll dump my rage, but not here. Not here.
There you go. All right, next up, Mr. Ferngully. All three of his questions are about a certain somebody. Or at least, tangentially related to it. All right, anyway. If you're having a hard time trying to decide which console to buy and you want unbiased, quote-unquote, veteran advice from someone who claims to be a gamer, who is better equipped to give that advice? A person who has both or all the consoles, or a person who just has one and plays the other on occasion at a friend's house or at a kiosk? I know what he's referencing right here. He's like, if you're knowledgeable, you can have one person that only owns one console give you advice. For example, I've told many people to get an Xbox One. It all starts with, hey, I want a new console. Okay, what do you want your console to do? What do you like? What do you want your console to do? And there's been many people, they tell me what they want. I'm like, oh, you should get an Xbox One. People would assume oh, am I going to tell them PS4? No, if you are a serious gamer, you get a PS4. But if you want other shit, you get an Xbox One. And a lot of friends that I have, they want, do that TV stuff, the cable, all that shit. I'm like, get an Xbox One. It has all the same games as PS4, basically. Just get that shit. So, yeah, if you're knowledgeable enough, and basically the key is talk to a person that's not fucking biased, period. If they're biased, they're just going to give you one answer. Get an Xbox One or a PS4. You have to go to an unbiased person that will look at your specific situation and tell you the best choice, for you. Hell, I might even go, you know what? I've talked to some people you should just get a 3DS, dude. Oh, yeah, I love JRPGs, man. I love all this stuff. Get a 3DS. That sounds like the best thing for you. You got to look at the person. You got to look at their situation to give them a really good assessment of what they should buy.
Yeah, also, you can't judge a person's knowledge base, whether or not they, so you have somebody who has both consoles. Do they have a PC? And then you have somebody who has both consoles, a PC. Do they have a Wii for some fucking reason, a Wii U? And then you're like, okay, you find that person who has a Wii U, both current consoles and a souped-up PC, and they're just going to give you an elitist bullshit response.
Yeah, that's true.
They're going to be like, well, if you're a real gamer, you'd buy all of them. Oh, fuck you, dude. I just want to spend $400 and play some video games. I think you want somebody who's probably been doing it for a while, somebody who pays attention to the news, somebody who's going to... Here's the thing. If you're asking, and I know you're posing this question hypothetically, but if you're asking somebody their opinion on a console or what kind of answer you should need for your video game advice, pay attention to their quick knee-jerk response. If they give you an answer before inquiring as to your exact needs, then don't take their answer. And I think it's as simple as that.
That's true. Yeah, if you get a guy's like, hey, what should I buy? PS4. It's like, I didn't finish my question.
Yeah.
Then don't listen to that guy. He's a fucking, if the person goes, what do you like in gaming? What do you need in a system? That's how you know that person's serious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's plenty. That also goes to suggesting games. There are a bunch of games. Knowing you guys, I wouldn't suggest certain games to you just because I know it's okay, Tony's not into that. Chris doesn't really care for those types of games.
Yeah, that's what I do too. It's even with games, what kind of games do you like? And then, or if you just know the person, okay, they won't like that game. I'm not going to suggest it, even though I may love it.
Perfect example. I came to Tony few weeks back and I said, man, I am hearing all of this awesome stuff about Metal Gear. I even had an old coworker come to me and say, hey, you can totally play the new Metal Gear without having played any of the previous ones. And I go to Tony, the same Tony we all know and love, the same Tony that's best friends with Manny, and you know how both them are. I go to Tony.
The same guy who's put 236 hours into Metal Gear Solid 5 and got the platinum, just throwing that out there.
And so I was like, Tony, should I buy Metal Gear? And everybody is automatically like, oh, Tony's gonna be like, yes. But Tony, he's like, he asked me if I'd played any of them. I told him, what I expect in games. Tony knows what I don't like about games, and he gave me the honest answer. No, you probably don't want to play this game without playing all the other ones. Now, I'm sure if I asked, he would recommend that I go back and play all the old ones.
Yeah, if the thing is, yeah, because you like the first Metal Gear, so that's my opening right there. If you go to me,
Metal Gear Solid is my jam.
yeah, if you were to go to me, because some people have been like, hey, this Metal Gear sci-fi looks cool. Like, do you like stealth games? No, stay away from it. That's the first. I'm like, don't even bother. Yeah, I mean, Brett, even with you, like when the Order 1886 came out, I'm like, Brett, stay away from this game. It's not for you. I loved it, but I'm like, Brett, stay away from it. Stay away from this game. You know, because I know what you like. You know.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You got to know what the person likes. There's so many people out there. They make recommendations based on what they personally like, and that's not the way you do it. You got to go on with the person that's asking you, what do they like? That's what you got to base it on.
Yeah, and I think this all boils down to ask people you trust, whose opinions you trust. I mean, if you're taking the crapshoot of just asking strangers at a mall what video game you should buy, then yeah, definitely go buy. You know, if they seem interested in you, or if they're like, oh, dude, Xbox is totally better. Be like, I wasn't done telling you, but okay, sure, I'll go do that. And yeah, don't listen to that guy, but yeah, take the opinions of people who you trust and who give you solid, moderated advice, and who will sometimes, you know, if somebody gives you an answer you're not expecting, that's probably an answer you should listen to sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to how I look at game reviews. I actually don't read game reviews from the big sites. I only read game reviews from my buddies. I'm just being honest. Because I know them. I trust them. Those other big sites, I don't know these people. I don't fucking trust them and stuff. So I always go to my buddies. You know, kind of the same way I do in real life. Like, hey, is that cool? Is that cool? Hey, I know he likes this type of game. Let me ask him. You know, things like that.
I don't trust a video game review from anybody whose name is not prominently displayed on the front of it, because if you are not putting your reputation up with that review, then you're just doing it under the mask of somebody else, which is why I fucking like hate certain Kotaku articles or even some IGN articles where they just shuffle the author like right down to the bottom. And that, you know, I'll admit that may have changed. It's been a minute since I've checked before anybody jumps on me about that. But that's how it used to be. And you know, one of those things like, well, this conglomeration or this company or this group of people says this game is this, and you're like, well, who is this group of people? Who's the man behind the curtain this week? And if it changes from week to week, then suddenly I don't fucking trust you anymore, and nor should I, because you're somebody who I don't know, and your opinion can be interchanged. You could slip in somebody who like you could gain my trust and then slip in somebody who knows dick about video games. And next thing you know, I spent $60 on something that sucks.
Yeah, to be fair though, Kotaku and IGN do actually put the author right up front. So
yeah, that's why I'm thinking. Like as I was saying, I was like, I really think my information might be dated. I might be dating myself here because like I'm thinking like, yeah, man. Whenever I used to like pick up the magazine, you'd have to look at the names buried way down. And I was like, wait a minute, pick up a magazine. When was the last time I picked up a video game magazine, like physically?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like a Polygon situation. We didn't talk about this because it was ridiculous. But basically, they were doing like an advertisement for a book, right? And it was like the advertisement by Polygon staff, and they wrote their opinion like, "Oh, this is a great book," and then you find out the person that wrote that editorial was the person who wrote the book. So it's like, what the fuck? All right, so let's move on here to the next question by Mr. Fungalis. If I limit my gaming purchases to only playing exclusive AAA titles that sell extremely well, but choose only to look at reviews and or opinions of other games, am I missing out on anything? Another very interesting question.
I'm confused by the wording. So basically he's saying if you only played high-selling AAA games but looked at reviews of other things?
From one console. And for the, okay, basically, let's say you have an Xbox One and you only play Xbox exclusive games, and you only have knowledge of PlayStation exclusive games by, you know, reading a magazine or going to a kiosk or going to a buddy's house.
I don't see the brand differentiation anywhere. I think he's just saying if he only plays AAA titles.
This question is about a specific someone. I know what he's getting. Okay.
So I'm not reading the question. I'm hearing the interpretation. So translate for us then.
Yeah, basically, if you own an Xbox One and you only play Xbox exclusive games, you know, the big selling ones, and you only look at you know, at reviews and other things of that nature from the other console for PlayStation 4, are you missing out on anything? Because your whole world may just be Xbox exclusives. This is gaming world. This is all that gaming encompasses. And if you just get
if you don't try anything else, then you're not a well-rounded gamer. It's like, well, I often say, and I know I catch flack for it, but I say Call of Duty guys, if you're just playing Call of Duty, you're not really a gamer. Like to me, you're just like people who play Candy Crush on the fucking subway. It's like if that's all you're playing, like on your phone, then that's not really gaming. You know, you're just playing one thing. There's a whole world out there. Hell, as a kid, we used to be able to rent games. You can rent games now. You can try things. You can download demos. Like, we have a whole world opened up. And if you're just gonna play AAA stuff and ignore imports, you're gonna ignore indie games. You're gonna ignore like anything else coming out. Then
yeah, you're missing out. Yeah, basically, there's a whole big gaming world out there.
Am I the only person who thinks this identification as gamer is weird? I mean, I don't want to go off because I know the whole, journalists, blah, 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 gamers are dead. I'm not lending any kind of credence to that right off the bat. I'm getting that out of the way. But at the same time, do we really identify as gamers? Like, is that a thing that encompasses a majority of the pie chart that is our identity? Like, I don't find myself like being intimidated when someone's like, "Oh, are you a real gamer because of this?" Like, yeah, I'm a real gamer because I love video games. Like, it has nothing to do with the systems that I own or what I feel about this brand in particular right now. Like, I don't think any owning number of systems or anything like that makes you technically a gamer. I don't think that's where the definition lies.
Well, I mean, where does the definition lie? Because it's I'm going to use Riku's example, and I kind of don't disagree with it too much. He says if you are just a guy that plays Call of Duty all day, every day for a year, you may not be a real gamer because you're not really like setting your foot into like what is a gamer? A gamer is a person that loves video games, not just a single video game. That's what a gamer is basically.
Yeah, like Brett, you try a bunch of stuff. You play PC games, you play console games. You just stick to one thing. It's just like if a guy eats hamburgers and French fries all day, every day, then you're not a foodie, right? You're not a foodie. Anything else like that, you can't call yourself a foodie.
Well, yeah, and that's why it seems pretty simple to me. Like a person who only plays Call of Duties would be a Call of Duty fan. Like, wouldn't you label people by the simplest thing? And wouldn't gamer be relegated to the people who have more varied or nuanced experience in the kind of thing, and therefore you can't slap a simple title on them, so you have to do something a little bit more vague like gamer. Like, if I can say, if I only play Sims and Minecraft, chances are I'm not a video gamer. It's going to be much more apt and succinct to just say I play Minecraft and The Sims.
Exactly.
Or I'm huge into Candy Crush or whatever. A term like gamer feels like it should be delegated to, when I don't want to go into 20 minutes to, explaining my taste, but like, yeah, I'm a gamer. I like games.
Yeah, isn't that what gamer is? A person that plays a lot of video games. Because if they just play one game,
not necessarily. Like, because you have varying shades of gray, and you come to a certain sort of nuance where we could all split hairs the same way the music industry does, and be like, oh no, this is speed thrashcore. And everything has its own subgenre, but what if you like 5 out of 6 video game genres, but you hate fighting games? Well, you're not playing all kinds of video games, so you are a gamer. Tony, you don't play PC games, so you totally don't play an entire system's worth of games. Can you be truly considered a gamer, or would we have to call you a console gamer since you don't actually play PC? And then on top of that, what about the people who play board games? Like, I play RPGs. I play tabletop games. I play games with dice and cards. Those are games to me. So, to a certain extent, do we make the delineation between video gamer and gamer?
Yeah,
I
think for this case, we're talking specifically about video games. And my thing has always been, if you play more than like 5 or 6 genres, you're a gamer. Even if you're just playing nothing, if you're just playing on the PC, you don't own consoles, or you're playing a shit ton of different types of games, you're still a gamer. Same thing with console. If you're playing lots of different types of console games, you're still a gamer. But if you're only playing one title...
But what's the benefit of telling anybody that they're not a gamer? Like, the whole thing seems born out of a sort of like elitism.
I don't think this question was born out of telling someone they weren't a gamer. I think this question's born out of someone doing these actions that he's asking about, saying that they are a gamer or that they are more of a gamer than everyone else.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. If you are the kind of person who challenges somebody as to, or if you say the words, you're not a gamer, or if you challenge somebody on their gamingness, you're an asshole. That's just how it is. Like, I come from a long background of punk rock, and that wasn't cool back in the day. Like, if you're like, oh, I'm more punk rock than you. No, and by saying that, you've just gotten yourself fucking kicked out because you've exposed yourself for being the asshole. If you say the words, I am more of a blank than you, you are less of a blank than that person. Like, that is, those are the rules. That's how it is. And I don't mean like feel free to come up to a comic book nerd and like have a nerd off. Be like, I'm a Superman fan. Be like, oh really? You're a Superman fan, huh? Well, when did Superman first start firing laser beams out of his eyes? Like that is perfectly cool and that is awesome. But don't make them feel like a shitbag if they don't know the answer for it. You know, they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm the ultimate Superman fan around here, but you know, that was cool, that was fun. Like, be a fucking good sport about it. Don't fucking shame people. The second you try and shame somebody, you're the asshole in the room, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah, but Brett, even you've talked about how, you know, if somebody comes in and go, hey, I'm a gamer, I'm a geek, you're gonna give them a test of a sort. You've talked about this yourself.
Yeah, there's a difference though between giving somebody a test and challenging them on the identity that they've formed. If they want to feel like they're part of my group, that's fine. But if you come in thinking that you know everything about fucking Command and Conquer, prepare to be fucking challenged. But once I prove you wrong, I'm going to say, but that was fun, right?
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. I think this whole thing comes from people that claim to be gamers when they're not as knowledgeable as actual gamers. I think that's where, like, basically in this specific situation, for really somebody who clearly is not a gamer claiming that he's the biggest gamer of all time, when it's proven that like you only play on one console, you only play exclusives, you're not really that much of a gamer, dude. I'm sorry. Like compared to like a person that doesn't even call themselves that shit, you're not a fucking gamer. I think that's where that really comes from. People that claim to be gamers when they're fucking not. You know.
I wouldn't call him not a gamer. You know, he spends a lot of time playing video games. Like I don't know what the fuck else you call that. Like he's definitely not a well-rounded gamer, but you don't have to be. Like you don't have to eat everything off the buffet to fucking enjoy yourself.
My point is, if you're gonna come in here and be an asshole and say and call other people non-gamers, expect you to be called out on your bullshit.
And see, that's the center of the thing right now. If you're going to come in here and be an asshole, and I don't know that we really need to continue the discussion beyond that point, other than, dude, don't come in here and be an asshole. Like, don't challenge other people. Don't say you're better than other people. You're not better than anybody. Nobody's better than anybody. We're all here to have fun and talk about fucking video games. The second you come in here and don't do that, then you're the asshole. And I'm sorry. It's the whole no true Scotsman argument. Like, the second you say no true blah 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 does this, or no true blah 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 doesn't do this, like you're being an asshole. You're extrapolating to the point of absurdity. Like it's know that like everybody's a wide varying group of people. You can't say no true, no true white guy or no true Scotsman or no true blah-de-blah or, it doesn't fucking matter. You can't say no true Protoss would ever go into battle without a sufficient amount of pylons, because you know what? There is one fucking Protoss who goes in there and doesn't have enough pylons, because that's how it fucking works. So like you can't make blanket statements like that. And if you do, then I think all of us, like, it's not a question of like proving to that guy that they're an asshole. Like, we just all need to kind of stand together and be like, quit being an asshole, man. Like you don't need to come in like I'm better than you, especially like, and this is the thing that gets me off, and here comes my fucking soapbox again, but for Christ's sake, weren't we all nerds enough? Like, haven't we all had enough of this shit? Like, you don't belong here, you're not good enough to be here, I'm better than you. Like, we've had enough of that shit. We've all had to fight most of our lives to fucking legitimize this thing that we now all love, and now we're gonna sit there and like fucking try and measure dicks about who's the bigger fan, like,
because it always happens that way.
I know it always happens that way.
It's human nature.
It's human nature. It's like, okay, so now since we've also gotten over this hump, there's no unity. We're not all holding hands. No, we're still like, well, mine is better than yours.
Well, I think it's a minority that does that. I think if you're to use Brett's analogy when he was talking about this, if we're all sitting around talking about Wolverine, and somebody comes in and wants to talk about Archie comics, but then comes in the room and then says, I know more about comics than any of you, but you only read Archie comics, then you're, like he said, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah. So that you extrapolate that to gaming. Like, we're not saying like anyone's less of a gamer. I don't care at the end of the day. I just enjoy what I enjoy. Tony enjoys what he enjoys. Brett's playing Ark. He doesn't give a shit what anyone else is doing. We're all immersed in what we love, and we love gaming, and that's what we enjoy. I'm not like measuring my EP-ness against anyone else. I don't give a shit at the end of the day. It's just we love what we love, and we keep playing games. Like, the minute you pull down the conversation because it's like you think you're hot shit because you only play Halo, well, I got news for you. You're not.
Yeah, well, and that's the point where you think that you're Mr. Halo guy, and so you play Halo. Like the thing Chris just described, that's what makes Chris a gamer, because he doesn't give a fuck, because he likes video games, and that is what makes a gamer. That should be the thing. But
I would love nothing more than for all of us to actually kind of drop that shit, because that goes for everybody in this room right now. We don't give a fuck what anybody else is doing. We play games, we love it. But then you have these assholes coming in going, oh, I'm a better gamer than you because I play this. Like, fuck you. I'm playing my games. Why? Okay, and you know what? I'm going off on a rant right now. I don't give a fuck. It's just like these PC fucks. Every fucking time. Oh, why aren't you playing on PC? Why don't you get a PC? You're not really gaming. Fuck you. I'm playing on my fucking console. I'm happy as shit. Why do you have to come in here and tell me what I'm doing is wrong? That's like going back to the Wolverine analogy. Listen, bitch, I love Wolverine, all right? I love comic books. I love Wolverine. I love the X-Men. I love fucking Avengers. I love all that shit. Who the fuck are you to come in here and tell me, oh, Archie's better? Fuck you. I'm enjoying my comics. Leave me the fuck alone. And that's what these PC assholes do. And I know I'm singling out PC guys, but you guys are the worst out there with this shit. You try to convert every fucking body. You see everybody that owns a console as a fucking peasant. That's what, and you all the time with that shit. Oh, you peasants, come to our side. We'll show you what real gaming is. Fuck you. Leave us alone. How about that? I wouldn't even be talking about that shit if you fucking dickheads weren't all about that shit every fucking day, all the time with that shit. That's what I'm talking about. Leave us alone, and I'll leave you the fuck alone. How about that? You know,
dude, it's one of the reasons. Like I've never fully ascended, as they put it. Like, I love hanging out with the console peasants. I'm a console peasant at heart. I grew up a console peasant. Like, yeah, I can dick around with my PC on Skyrim for an hour and a half or 2 fucking days setting up a mod list, and yeah, it looks great. But you know what? Like, Rachel asked me what I was doing. I was like, oh, you know, playing a PC game, just hanging out in menus, blue screening, you know, playing PC. That's how it is. So, but I digress. The point that I'm making, and I think Tony was absolutely right in this, is that the second you say that you are more of a gamer, you are no longer concerned about games. You are concerned about ego. You're concerned about being better than other people, which means that the person that you are challenging probably is more of a gamer than you. And no, you should never walk into a situation and say, oh, I know more than you. I'm the biggest gamer in the room. I'm the biggest fan of this in the room. No, it's more appropriate to have a spirit of healthy competition where someone's like, oh man, I'm pretty sure I know everything there is to know about Superman. And somebody pops up in the background and goes, really? You think you know everything there is to know about Superman, huh? And then, there's no reason this can't be done in good wills. There's no reason why you can't have a friendly competition of knowledge. The same way that you don't have to talk shit and get into a fight after playing a game of street basketball with somebody. It can be friendly. Like, you don't need to take the avenues that we already use and turn them toxic and just say because these avenues are already there that they deserve to be toxic. Like, no, like, you're the one taking this to a place of asshattery.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, let's talk about Superman, and okay, you may have more knowledge than me. Okay, let me learn that knowledge. You know, simple as that.
Yeah, and maybe I'll hear about a run I've never heard about, and I'll be like, dude, what run is that? I really want to. Who drew that?
Exactly.
That sounds awesome.
You know, it doesn't have to devolve to hold on, I'm just thinking about this. Pisses me off. Everybody's just hanging out in the room, chilling. This one motherfucker just shows up and ruins it for everybody. That's basically what you're describing now. It's like, bitch, why? Who's talking about that? We're in the room talking about games. We're talking about all the games we love. Oh, I'm more of a gamer than all of you. Fuck you. Get the fuck. Who invited you in here, you fucking dickhead? You know?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with competition, but there's something wrong with imposing competition on people. You know, if you walk in a room
for no reason, you know, that's the thing. That's what I don't get. Like, no one talked about this shit. Like, dude, we were just talking about games. We love talking about a game. Why are you coming here with this shit that wasn't even part of the conversation?
We compare and contrast because we are telling you news. Like, it's kind of a natural progression. Like, we're talking about things that happen in an industry where there's only 2 major players. Sorry, Nintendo fans. There's only 2.
Hey, it's just the truth. Hey, and you know what? I'll say, and I'll just say this right now, in the spirit of fairness, even though we come down hard on Nintendo, if you just own a Wii U, but you own every fucking game on that Wii U, you're still a gamer too, because that's a lot of fucking variety. Now, if you come in here and go, oh, I'm a better gamer than you, I'm a realer gamer than you because I'm only on Wii U, then you're a fucking dick. You know? It's as simple as that.
And then at that point you're like, you're not a real gamer. You're just somebody who bases their identity around artificially being a gamer.
And then I'm gonna whip my dick out. I'm like, okay, how's Batman? How's Batman Arkham Asylum? How's Mass Effect? How's Red Dead Redemption? Oh wait,
dude,
see,
it's like it gets me started. Have you met any of these classic hipsters? Oh, they fucking piss me off. The ones who only play Nintendo games, and they're like, dude, these games are the best. They say in their little fucking fedora and like little sweater. And they're like, I only play games that are 16 bits and below. And you're like, you know what, motherfucker? I grew up on those games, but we have gotten better. For you to sit here and simply say that, like, oh, games are just shit now. A, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And B, you're only saying that because you've built your entire ego around being the douchebag construction that I see in front of me. It is a curated image. You don't actually only like old video games. You just want to be the guy who says that he only likes old video games because you're a fucking hipster.
Yeah.
Because they're considered unpopular, and you have to like things that are unpopular.
It's like still watching movies on VHS. Like, good for you.
But
Yeah,
I listen to my music on vinyl.
Yeah, those dickheads. Oh, I only wear these Iron Maiden shirts to be ironic. It's like, fuck you.
I like Iron Maiden.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the last question here. Are indie games a good thing for the gaming industry or a bad thing? Some feel that Sony heavily supporting these games is secretly fucking up the industry, although forgetting that other consoles support it too or have been quote-unquote forced to. Let's get to obviously the last part of this is about a certain somebody too. Let's get to the heart of it. Are indie games fucking up the industry? No, they're
They're not.
Indie games are where you can actually test fucking ideas. You can't do it in a AAA game. You can't get experimental in a AAA game. You can in an indie game, and if that shit does really well in an indie game, then you'll see it trickle over to the console game. So you need a very healthy, independent gaming industry. And I think this is why this gaming generation right now is really good, because you have a ton of people making games. And yes, a lot of indie games can be shitty, but out of that, you're going to get some really good stuff that's going to actually bleed over to the AAA games that everybody else is playing and just make games better. So yeah, the whole idea of people coming down on indie games because they're not $80 million or whatever, or because they don't have like a backer or whatever that you never heard of, or like, oh, is it Activision? They don't make no, they can't. Like, basically, there are people out there that dismiss indie games right off the bat because they're independent games, and that whole idea is fucking stupid. And it goes back to what we just talked about. How the fuck can you call yourself a gamer and totally dismiss that shit? It boggles the mind. It's like, okay, again, some of these games may be shit. Even on a little bit of a side note, mobile games, right? I don't like mobile games. I think they're shit, but they're still games. They're still viable.
And there's still good ones.
Yeah, there's some good ones too. But the whole idea of indie games being shit because they're independent games is fucking really ignorant. It really is. So, and it still gets me. Oh, they just have indie games. Ugh, I'm not gonna buy that. Indie games.
Also, there's this idea that indie games are hurting the industry coming from it, like especially console. Like, you guys do realize that there's an entire little bubble of PC world that exists superfluous and completely aside from the video games. Like the video games you get on consoles, yeah, they get those on PCs too. But even if they didn't get those, there would still be a video game market for PC, because those motherfuckers like make their own games, they play their own games, they advertise their own games. It's an entire separate little world. There's a small channel that goes back and forth. Like, they don't fucking need us.
They don't. They're healthy, man. I mean, sometimes we get some other games, like right now I'm playing Talos Principle, which is a really big PC game. Sometimes that trickles over. But even if those games didn't trickle over, those games could be on PC and be fine. There's a bunch of supporters. It's its own ecosystem.
The only games you see coming to consoles are the ones that have like developed in this secular isolated world and floated over. Like, you're not seeing Sony take research money or development money and put it into indie games and take it away from other games. These are games, like most indie games that come to a console are already made and already critical successes on their own before you've ever even heard of them.
Yeah, why do you think they came to console in the first place? Because they did really well. It's as simple as that, But they don't think about that. Oh, independent game. Now, and I am saying this as a guy because I personally love big-ass AAA games. That's my stuff. But you got to give the indie guys respect too, because they're busting their balls. They're actually, and I hate to say this, going back to the whole real thing, but in a way, they're kind of like let's see, I'm trying to get the words right here, but basically that's the real heart of like game development right there. Those guys who are just doing it for the fucking love of that shit.
That's how video game development started. We didn't have
exactly
100, 200 man teams. It was just 5 guys in a room at a computer. That's what it was.
That's exactly what I want to say. You just got to it faster than I did. Basically, independent games, they bring back the heart of what gaming was all about on the development side. It's just a small group making awesome games that they fucking love. It's not 800 people. Go ahead, Chris.
Also, indie games, these guys can buck trends, because a lot of times the big studios, like you're saying with the AAA and stuff, they they harp on trends and sales trends and whatever. They're just looking at numbers, right? These are all numbers guys. So they don't take chances and they don't buck trends. They won't go, oh, they're just like platformers are dead. Look at the sales. I guess platformers are dead. We won't do platformers. Then here comes these indie guys and they make these great platformers. They'll make these 16-bit games and stuff. And then the guys are like, hey, I guess platformers aren't dead. Maybe we should make some platformers. It's like it takes these guys to show, hey, people still care about this stuff. If you just make it in a way that has some heart, like it'll sell.
Dude, point and click is a perfect example. Like point and click used to be a viable type of video game, and then everybody kind of loved them, and then they were so cheap and easy to make that the market got flooded with horrible crap games of the point and click variety. And so they looked at the numbers and they're like, well, I guess the public is over point and click games, and they stopped making them for like 15 years. And there were people who were like, I loved Monkey Island, like please give me more of that. But they're like, no, those games don't sell. And suddenly indie gamers come out and start making point and click games, and they're fucking selling well. And then all of a sudden games like Telltale start adopting huge IPs and making them into critically acclaimed games based off of the whole concept and premise of point-and-click adventure games. It's pretty much a shined-up point-and-click adventure game, and they're selling by the fucking truckload. And they're like, oh, well, I guess people did want point-and-click adventure games. We were just making a whole bunch of shitty ones.
Yeah, and that goes back to my point. If it works in the indie scene, it'll work in the console scene, too. So, yeah. I mean, that stuff.
Without them, without that indie scene, without guys bucking trends and trying new things and pushing technology or pushing what the games can do or how they look, we would just have first-person shooters, cover shooters, and racing games.
Yeah,
that would be our range of games.
On Chris's note, how many AAA publishers right now do you guys think are working on Oculus Rift titles?
AAA?
Yeah.
not a whole lot.
No, let's just be honest. Not really.
But
Sony maybe has a couple of guys, but no.
Yeah,
and Sony probably doesn't have their biggest people working on it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we're gonna have these really like solid little titles, but nothing like earth shattering.
Yeah, but EA, Ubisoft, Activision, they're not pumping out money into VR. They're just not, because it hasn't been proven yet. These guys just think with money.
Well, that's not true. A game that already has Oculus Rift support, and people are raving about it as one of the single best reasons to buy an Oculus Rift.
What is that?
The game Brian's playing?
Oh, Elite Dangerous?
Oh, Elite Dangerous? Yeah, but the thing is, are they making the kind of money that, Ubisoft? It just goes back to your point, Brett. These big companies are not putting...
Elite Dangerous has made a shitload of money.
But the thing is that Elite Dangerous is also an indie title.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? So...
Yeah, it is, yeah. But Brett, isn't that the point you were trying to make, though, that a lot of the big companies aren't investing in, these kind of weird off...
The big companies aren't pushing the boundaries, but I don't want to give you guys the idea that this means there's going to be a lack of in-depth content. Like, the Oculus Rift is going to release, and it's going to be heavily supported from most reports, and it's going to be supported with a lot of really interesting and good games. And when I say it's going to be mostly indie titles, everybody's going to get this idea like it's going to be cheap little $3 pixel games or things like that. No, they'll be real games. They will be real games, but they will be made from studios you've never heard of, and it'll be a great example of you don't need these huge companies to make these great games. It's just that the more money you pour into it, the more chance you have of coming out with a blockbuster game. The same thing with the movie, but you also run to a point of diminishing returns, which is why you can have a game like No Man's Sky put together by 7 people that looks so fucking amazing. Like, you don't need 300 people to make a game. To make a great game. You just have better odds of making a great game if you have 300 people.
Yeah, but it goes back to what these guys are thinking, the big studios and stuff. It's like, okay, we need a big development team, all that stuff. And remember, here's the point I want to bring up, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong here. Does Japan have a big indie scene?
No, they don't.
They don't. Okay, and that's the point I want to make, because you see Japanese games, they're not pushing the boundaries. And I think that's directly because they don't have an independent scene there to push the boundaries.
Well, also the thing is that, if you're either a big company or you're not anything. There are some independent game studios there, but they make games for other big studios. Like, Platinum Games is essentially an indie game company. They just make big games for other studios.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just a point. It's like, hey, we're getting we're getting some trickle innovation in our AAA games because we have a thriving indie scene, but I'm not seeing that in Japan too much.
Yeah, I don't. They don't have that, so they stick with what they know, and it's just iterating over the same ideas and just adding little things to it. But it doesn't have. There's no explosion. There's no like. There's kind of evolution, but there's no revolutionary stuff happening in their in most of their titles.
Yeah, exactly. And goes back to what you were saying. If we didn't have independent guys, we just have first-person shooters. That's it. That's all we have. You know. All right.
I like that, Chris. We have evolution, not revolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, the last thing here, this is not really a question. He just goes, side comment. Thank you so much for mentioning Micro Center on one of the podcasts. I found out there was one in my area, and now I'm fucking addicted to this place.
Dude, Micro Center is awesome.
Yeah, man. I remember because, when they finally built it around here, I never heard of Micro Center. I was like, and I tweet, I'm like, what the fuck is Micro Center? What kind of rinky-dink shit is that? Because I assume
there's nothing rinky-dink about that place, man.
I'm like, it's in my neighborhood. It has to be fucking rinky-dink, you know? So people are like, oh, dude, it's the shit. So I'm like, okay. So when they opened up, I go in there, I'm like, I'm never going to Best Buy ever again. Like, 5 seconds just entering this place. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I'm glad we were able to help you out, Mr. Ferngully.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a really good place. I mean, you can get, like, if you're looking for a new, a power adapter for your friggin' laptop, they have a whole list of the different laptops from Dell to every single one of them. I did that once where I had a Dell laptop and the friggin' power supply just went fucking bad. I bought a totally new one and just found out the number. So they have everything. You can even build a PC with them.
Yeah, man.
I was just about to say that. Don't forget, everybody, they don't advertise it very well, but twice a year they have a sale on PC parts. And those are the time that if you are not a PC builder yourself, bring a friend, save up some money, bring that nerdy PC friend who builds PCs, everybody knows him, drag that motherfucker into Micro Center and be like, here's $400, here's $500, here's $700, go nuts. And watch them work some fucking magic, because I tell you, they do huge discounts, and on top of those discounts, they do bundle deals. If you buy a motherboard, you buy a processor, boom, you get a discount. You buy some RAM, boom, you get another discount. You buy a video card, boom, you get another discount. You want a discount computer case, boom, you get another discount. They layer this shit up on top of each other, and then you can buy like I'm running a refurbished video card right now, right? Got like $140 cheaper than it was. $30 more, I buy a 2-year warranty. I can take this motherfucker. If it burns out a year and 9 months from now, I turn it in, I get every dime that I paid for it in-store credit back, and I can just buy something else. Like, they have great policies, so I cannot recommend enough. If you're going to take a chance anywhere, take a chance with Micro Center, because they'll treat you right. But don't forget to watch out for their PC sales, those of you who are thinking about jumping into a PC or doing any upgrading.
Like me.
Like Tony.
Because I definitely need one. All right, moving on, Mr. Phantom Vash. This is a fun one. What is your favorite sci-fi movie of all time? Tough question here. So many to choose from.
Starship Troopers. I fucking love Starship Troopers.
That movie's awesome.
That movie's about Nazis. Space Nazis.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's. I'm not going to say it's a great movie, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, we all love
It's not a great movie, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yes, it's a great movie.
Even though it straddles the fence of sci-fi and action movie, because it is both. My favorite sci-fi movie of all time, that's easy. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Love that fucking movie. That's the shit right there. The Terminator. I know it's not like super hard on the science, but it's the shit. That's my favorite movie of all time, period. So, and it's technically sci-fi, so there you go. That's my answer. But if you're going to go with hard sci-fi, then I got to really think about it, because there's been a lot of good ones. Plug right now, The Martian's the shit.
The Martian is a very good movie and a very good book.
Yeah, so there you go.
Which I suggest you should. I would suggest if you should read, either if you've seen it, read it before or after you see the movie, because the movie does a very good job of distilling the the essence of the book, because the Martian, the book is very science-based, and they go through a lot of the trouble of telling you how things work, how trajectories work and stuff like that. And the guy who did that book did a lot of research and is also he actually calculated a possible route from Mars from Earth to Mars in the book. So he's got some good stuff, and it's a very well done book and movie.
All right, Manny, since you're talking, what's your favorite sci-fi movie?
Favorite sci-fi movie? Let's see. It's a very difficult one.
Yes. Wait, does that mean you need this?
Time, what is time? Speaking of time, what is time?
Blade Runner?
I'll say Blade Runner.
Hey, Blade Runner, there you go.
It's to me, it's one of those. I feel like it's one of those things I think of when I think of sci-fi. That or Star Trek.
Man, I want to derail this a little bit right now, but I'll do that after everybody gets in. Chris, go ahead. What's your favorite sci-fi movie?
Well, that's a tough one because I want to go with Star Trek because it's my favorite sci-fi franchise ever. So
then you got to single out a movie then.
Wrath of Khan. That's easy.
Okay, there you go.
That's easy. Wrath of Khan is like, to me, is the best Star Trek movie ever made.
Yeah, it is.
So that's easy. But if I were to pick something else, if you were to say like, all right, pick like something else, I would say the movie that really broke out and made time travel fun, I'd say Back to the Future.
Nice. There you go.
Which is considered by many the perfect film.
The perfect. Oh, we got a question about that. It's like, how can you say there's no perfect games, but say that's a perfect script because no one said it's a 10 out of 10 movie? That's why. But we're not going to get into that. Another 50 minutes on that. Okay, this is what I want to derail it with, and I apologize to all the people listening, but this is. I've been thinking about this. Okay, Ridley Scott, his two biggest sci-fi movies are Alien and Blade Runner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Alien is the one that obviously, was the big success out there. Everyone loves Alien. Everybody knows Alien. Blade Runner was kind of cult classic. But
I would change my answer to Alien too while we're on that subject.
Brett, I almost picked that one myself because Aliens was the fucking shit. But, okay, here's the thing. Okay, even though Blade Runner is not as popular as that, I would actually argue that it was more influential than Alien was.
Yes.
Because every fucking sci-fi movie that came out afterwards, it looked like Blade Runner. Even now, even when you saw Star Wars, the prequels, is like, oh, Coruscant, the underground part, that's Blade Runner. And anime in the 80s, Blade Runner out the ass.
Tony, I have a question for you, though.
Yeah, what's up?
Now, did Blade Runner start all that, or was that just the best example of an already popular social trend? That whole
what other movie looked like that? And I'm talking about the visuals, like the city, the future city.
No, the visuals are exactly what I'm talking about. The idea of like the kind of barren, statuesque, super modern, clean line kind of world that they build was pretty pervasive through the stories. There was low tech thing like the whole the whole Aliens kind of vibe, but there was also the whole dystopian future kind of thing, and that was pretty popular. Now, granted, Blade Runner was the best one to crystallize this vision, but I'm saying I don't know if Blade Runner made all these things by themselves, or it was just the apex of the wave that was already rolling in.
You know what this is? This is Kill Switch and Gears of War. Kill Switch was the first game that had cover-based shooting, right? Which game popularized it? Gears of War. That's what's going on with Blade Runner. Blade Runner popularized that whole look.
I will absolutely agree with that.
That's what I'm going at.
And because it popularized it so well,
mm-hmm.
It was in and of itself influential. Like it popularized that whole idea by itself. The same way Halo kind of popularized the idea of an armored space marine, even though it had been done before.
Exactly. Go ahead, Manny.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at the film Alien, which is the first one that he did, that one literally had the same thing going for it. It was a used future. It was a kind of a future of things built on top of things future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what is Alien at its heart? It's a monster movie. And we've had a lot of those before, afterwards. And yeah, again, Alien was a more popular one, but Blade Runner, that thing set a trend.
Blade Runner was the natural progression of the whole 1984 Brave New World idea. Like, if you read either of those books, they call into mind that exact thing. But nobody had put that really well in film yet. Blade Runner was the first time that you could literally see this instead of having to imagine it.
Yeah, it's exactly. So that it definitely
And
popularized it. Go ahead.
yeah, I agree. No, I agree with Tony. Like, we wouldn't have Ghost in the Shell or animes like that without Blade Runner.
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
just doesn't.
anime in particular really took like note. Like, okay, let's have all the '80s, all that cyberpunk shit from anime.
Yeah, Apple Seed,
I
all
think
that
a lot
stuff.
of that is actually because we dropped a nuclear bomb on them.
Damn, dude.
I know, yeah, like I hate to go dark with it, but the whole like post-apocalyptic apocalyptic subplot that runs through most animes kind of happened because we pretty much just about ended the world. Like,
Oh, Brett. Oh, I'm glad you brought this up, and I hate to cut you off. Okay, a bunch of throwdowns ago, this was an episode I wasn't on, right? You asked why is Japan so like obsessed with post-apocalypse stuff? Because they are a post-apocalyptic society. I'm not saying that's a joke. It's true. They got
yeah, no, I
yeah.
absolutely agree with that.
So that is in their culture. It's like a part of it's like a part of them. So that's why they're so obsessed with that. I've been wanting to tell you that for so long, but I keep forgetting. So thank you for reminding that.
More in older anime, like you see way more in Akira than you do in newer animes. Like newer animes, the generations are starting to forget the fallout from having their entire society almost fucking collapse on them. Like having a nuke dropped on you is a big fucking deal, and it will change your society for half a century.
Well, I mean, think about it. The original anime creators, they all survived that. They're all products of that. So all their works reflect that. Even Astro Boy reflected all that stuff. Everything that has to do with technology going wrong, it all it was seeped in. But now the newer guys that were born in like the 2000s or whatever, late 90s. They didn't really grow up with that, so the anime is getting away from that. But yeah, that whole thing, getting nuked will totally change the course of history on your society. It'll never really be something that goes away, But yeah, that's why they focus so much on post-apocalyptic stuff, because they are literally a post-apocalyptic society. Very interesting. All right, so I just wanted to throw that Blade Runner thing in there. I'm like, yeah, Blade Runner is more influential than Alien. All right, next question. Are there any? We kind of got asked this before, but we go through it quickly. Are there any critically acclaimed games or franchises that you tried to get into, or they just never clicked with you?
Oh, Witcher.
Yeah.
I tried so hard to play The Witcher. I have bought every Witcher game, 1, 2, and 3, and I've put like 20 hours into each of them, and I'm sorry, gaming world, I don't like The Witcher. I love the developers, I love the idea, I love the lore, I love the story. I do not like playing the game.
yeah. And the purpose of being consistent, because that's the same answer you gave before. I'm gonna go with my answer. The very first BioShock, because I played it 7 years after it came out. So I'm like, what's the big deal here? Like, I didn't get it. I'm pretty sure I would have gotten it. But that's the and again, Fallout 3. Everybody loved the game. I'm like, this is the buggiest piece of shit I've ever played. Like, this game is cool if it didn't have all this shit on it. So yeah.
Didn't we get asked this like a couple weeks ago, or like?
No, we got asked this like probably like last year. So that's why we're just running through it quickly. So I'm giving the same answer I gave before.
Yeah, Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Yes.
Critically acclaimed game, piece of shit. Personally.
Yes.
Was it critically acclaimed? Man,
yeah, it was. It was.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
That's part of the reason why I bought it. I was like, well, so many of these guys seem to like this game. I guess I'll not listen to my instincts and buy this game.
Well, I just was like, Castlevania, give it to me, and then look what we got. I don't remember what I said before. I'd say, like, going back, I think Mega Man. I think everybody and their brother played Mega Man, and I just was like, what's the big deal? I never got into those games. People love Mega Man. They would say, dude, Mega Man's the best platformer ever. I'm like,
So why did you invest in Mighty Number 9 if you don't really like Mega Man games?
Because I wanted to encourage him. I was like, yeah, sure. Dude, the whole idea of these creators, especially breaking away from Capcom, which I think has become a steaming pile of shit. I want to support all these guys. Well, for me, I love Castlevania. So Bloodstained, I was like, here you go. Yeah. Here you go, making it rain. Yeah, here, take it. But with Inafune, I was like, I do see the appeal of these games. I do want to see a new one. I actually want to play Mighty Number 9. Now I want to play. I feel like, man, I miss Mega Man, and I didn't really get into it, but now I do. And now that he left Capcom as Mickey, I'm like, yes, okay, here, have some money. I want to see this. So that was my thinking. It's not like I also supported ukulele, and I never really played Banjo-Kazooie. I played a little bit of it, but I was like, you know what? Sure, I like it. You know, I want to see platformers, fun platformers come back. So that's why I supported that game. It wasn't because, like, yes, Banjo-Kazooie is the best game ever, and I think they could do it again. I don't know. I just think, I want fun platformers to come back. That looks like a fun platformer. And Banjo, a little bit I played was fun, so here you go.
All right. Next question. In an interview, Neil Druckmann confirmed that before he and Bruce Straley were asked to move on to work on Uncharted 4, that they were brainstorming ideas for Last of Us 2 with new characters, ideas for Last of Us 2 continuing with Joel and Ellie, ideas for a sci-fi game, and ideas for a fantasy game. The latter two even had prototypes built. So my question is, which of these would you like to see them take on in the future? You know me, I'm a sci-fi guy, so do a sci-fi game.
I say sci-fi game.
Yeah, I'm voting with you guys. Like, I want to see a future sci-fi game from those guys.
From Naughty Dog, shit. Brett, I know you're gonna go the other way around. I already know.
No, I would agree with you. Okay, I just had this discussion with Rachel the other day. Like, I would love to see them do a sci-fi game, as long as it were like a steampunk or low-tech sci-fi game. I am so fucking sick of clean white surfaces, straight or lightly curved lines, and fucking blue holograms. And Kojima loves that shit. And so I know if he did a sci-fi game, it would be like a Star Trek sci-fi game. And I know this excites the shit out of you, Chris, but I want a cyberpunk game. I want a low-tech sci-fi future game where you have fucking switches and diodes and
alien isolation,
lifts and shifts. Yeah, like I want that shit. Like, I don't know why all of our ideas of sci-fi and future end up being boring.
But I mean, if it's Neil Druckmann and those guys, why would they be making that sort of game?
Well, that's what they brainstormed. Understand?
Yeah, how do you know that their future sci-fi game isn't anything?
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, I really hope. Like, I also agree with you guys in terms of sci-fi, but with the addendum that please don't let it be like the hologrammy kind of high-tech sci-fi that Kojima seems to be drawn towards.
Why Kojima? I don't understand that part.
Because and I say seems because I haven't played the Metal Gear games, but like a lot of the technology that I see in it, like, seems to be that very kind of Japanese version of sci-fi.
These are Western guys, though, so I don't think you have to worry about that. The Naughty Dog guys. I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about Kojima.
No,
we're just talking about Naughty Dog.
Yeah, we said Naughty Dog.
Okay, yeah, Naughty Dog. Yeah, I'd totally watch it. I'd totally play a Naughty Dog sci-fi game. Sorry, I misunderstood the question. I thought we were talking if they rolled Kojima into a studio with Naughty Dog.
No. You're getting the next question mixed in with this one.
Is that what I'm doing? Okay.
Yeah, I know. This is because Neil Druckmann and basically the other guy.
Yeah, sorry, I read ahead, you guys. My bad. I think sci-fi game.
I think if anything,
last 2 minutes.
I think anything they did would be closer to Firefly than Star Trek.
Yeah. No, I would be absolutely excited about that.
Yeah, here's the thing: most sci-fi games I play now are like either steampunk or rusted out futures and stuff. I don't really see many clean sci-fi games anymore. But then again,
Mass Effect was very.
Mass Effect had a lot of dirty planets too, dude.
It had a lot of dirty planets, but then you go on a Citadel.
Yeah, I'm speaking more of the technology. I want to see the opposite of what fucking Destiny has. This like weird, super modern alien architecture that's been disused for 2,000 years. Not the fucking same as like realistic. Like, look at the fucking inside of a space shuttle, the one we actually send into space. It doesn't have holograms and touch monitors. It has light up buttons and fucking switches.
They're gonna probably put touch monitors inside of them. Because it makes it a lot easier to they don't need to put as much equipment in there now.
And while I agree with that, I'm also like, if we're getting into like my beef with a lot of sci-fi stuff, like computers are they're unreliable a lot of times. The more sophisticated a system becomes, the more unreliable it becomes. So it would seem like very simple systems would be important for things like life support and engine thrust. Like, it seems like they would never get away from the mechanics. I can't understand a spaceship that works entirely off of holograms and a centralized computer system unless they just don't have bugs in the future.
They got rid of all the bugs.
They have to put in the new firmware update.
Yeah. All right. And moving on, he actually has an extra question, but I'm gonna leave this in here because if this wasn't asked, I was gonna ask the question. Fuck that, because this is important. Me and Manny have been talking about this for the last 3 days, ever since that picture came out there. All right. So the question is, with Kojima recently meeting with Mark Cerny, do you see this as a possibility, as possibly the first step in Sony beginning a partnership with Kojima? Whether it be recruiting him to create a new first-party studio, possibly doing a third-party publishing deal similar to the one they have with Yu Suzuki for Shenmue 3, or even a second-party deal similar to the one they had with Hidetaka Miyazaki and From Software. Okay, let's get into this because this is very interesting. So for you who don't know, a couple of days ago, I believe on Thursday, after we did Throwdown, Kojima posted a picture of him hanging out with Mark Cerny, and that immediately made us go, "Whoa! Why is he hanging out?"
In fact, during the background of the show, I said, "Hey, you guys, did you see this thing? Like, while we were on the show, I sent out the photo."
Yeah, it's like, whoa! What? Like, why is Kojima meeting with Mark Cerny? Let's understand the situations here. Kojima, at the end of this year, is going to be leaving Konami officially.
Yes.
Kojima is a hot commodity, right? Yes. Now, again, right now, we're just putting the little pieces together. Kojima has a long history with PlayStation. We know this. The Metal Gear games were always on PlayStation. They eventually got, brought over to Xbox. But people think of them, even now, 75% of the sales of Metal Gear Solid 5 are for PlayStation 4. And the other 25 are a combination of PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3. So that lets you know that, they are a Sony company. Kojima is a Sony guy, even though, he does make shit for other companies. So you have that. You have those. You have that in there, right? And then Manny brought up something else. He found this out. And Manny, I want you to source this exactly. Where did you see this?
This was during a 20th anniversary celebration interview with Shuhei Yoshida. He was in, I think, Europe, and they were, usually the usual thing. Hey, what did you think when you were doing this? Because of course, Yoshida was there during the original PlayStation. So they ask him, what do you think are those, are those cornerstone titles for the original PlayStation? And he goes, well, we had a really great deal with Namco, and they made, they did an amazing job with Ridge Racer. Capcom did a really amazing job with the games that they put out, and Kojima did an amazing job with Metal Gear Solid. And he also added in, have you played the new Metal Gear Solid? I really enjoy that game. Now the thing is, he should, in the order of things, he's throughout the whole interview, he named every single company and the games that they make. Kojima, and he didn't name for Metal Gear, he didn't say Konami, he said Kojima. Why would you just say that?
Why just throw in Metal Gear Solid 5 when you're talking about the legacy games of PlayStation?
Exactly. It's an interesting bit. It's an interesting bit. Like, why? Okay, I understand. Yes, he's. We've worked with him. And, he is the creator of Metal Gear Solid. But at the same time, why didn't he mention the creators of those other franchises?
Exactly. And then, so you have all these little pieces, and you have Guillermo del Toro saying, "Oh yeah, I'm still going to work with Kojima on something. We're not giving up on that." So putting all this together, my speculation is that next year you're gonna have Kojima going, "Yeah, I'm partnering with Sony. We're gonna create a horror game for the system exclusively." I predict this will happen at E3, and everybody's minds will be blown away. I think this is inevitable, and it makes sense. Kojima partnering with Sony makes more sense than him partnering with Microsoft because
why a horror game?
Because of PT, dude. PT. Silent Hills.
Okay.
Everybody, Brad, I don't know if you kept up with the hype for this game was like through the roof because of that demo. The demo fucked everybody. Like, this is the greatest horror game I've ever played. It was just a fucking demo. People are hungry for this, so they want to keep that momentum going, right? So what do? You partner up with a big studio that you have history with, Sony, and you release this fucking game. Because he already said, "Hey, I'm still working with Guillermo del Toro on something." I'm pretty sure they could get Norman Reedus back on the project too. Remember, Konami doesn't own the rights to Norman Reedus. They don't own the rights to Scary Games. They have to call it something else, obviously.
And the thing is that when they made PT, they didn't exactly put all their cards on the table. It was just an idea of what potentially the game might be like. And same thing with that video. So all you need to do is just not call it PT. Call it Silent Hills.
And I'll say this right now because this was a game, and Kojima said this was, I don't want a game that's going to make you, piss your pants. I want to make a game that's going to make you shit your pants. And you have Sony in there, right? You go, hey, we're going to have this game be compatible with the Morpheus. So you're going to have a VR horror game that's okay. This demo was so scary, Brett. I finished this in a room with Chris, Manny, their girlfriends, and our two other friends. We were all fucking scared shitless.
Well, no. I know this, and I believe the hype for PT. But let me ask Chris this, as being inside the developer process a little bit. Is it different in games than it is in like Silicon Valley and technology? Because I know if you're working for a tech company, anything that you start while working for that tech company, any ideas, any base ideas that could later be formed into regular ideas, like you can't have a single piece of code from the original project. If you leave that company, they own anything that you do based upon that work further. So if they came up with the base ideas, like I know that they can't own horror games and they can't own Norman Reedus, but they could take Kojima to court and say that this game was clearly based off of or is a spiritual successor of this game that they own the rights to very clearly. And is that a litigation process that Kojima would want to be in on? I know it's a whole bunch of questions right away, but like, would it be worth the risk to let Kojima come out right now and do a horror game?
I'll reply with that with the fact that somehow Kenji Inafune is making Mighty No. 9, and Capcom does not have the ability to come after him, even though this looks and feels like the spiritual successor. It looks like the next Mega Man, right? It pretty much is the next Mega Man without being called or having any association with Mega Man. I don't know if it's a Japanese law or whatever, but he's literally doing that and somehow skirting their laws somehow and making this thing where they can't go after him. So I think
do you think that would be different with Mighty No. 9 if they had just canceled a Mega Man game before he left, or if they had a Mega Man game in development before he left?
They did.
I don't think that would have changed. I think that it may be Japanese law, and I'm not too sure about this. It's not like here where a company is like makes you sign contracts where they like own the thoughts in your head for like a year after you leave or some stupidity like that. I don't think Japan does that. So I think he can take Silent Hills as it was, or PT, whatever you want to call it, and run with it. Like I don't think they can sue based on that, because they'd have to go after like the guys who are working on Allison Road, which looks like PT.
I was just about to say that. And Allison Road, the developers have flat out said this game is a spiritual whatever of PT. They flat out said that, and Konami's not going after them. And again, they don't have the market on a scary first-person game. I mean,
no, but they have the market on every asset that was used for PT.
So
you would have to use the same assets.
He doesn't have to. He just starts from scratch. And here's the other part I want to bring up. Okay, you guys remember when Platinum Games first started, right? Their games looked very similar to MT Framework games. That's the engine that Resident Evil 5 ran on, right? I suspect that the engine they work on is not going to be the Fox engine, because Konami owns that, but it's going to look very similar to it. And they got away with it somehow. They got away with using that MT Framework base.
Yeah, I don't think it's as crazy strict as we are, where they're like, even the similarity in the thoughts, they can sue you, like they'll jump down your throat. But I don't think Japan does that. And I think as long as he's not using any code or any assets from Metal Gear or PT, then he's fine. He's in the clear. It can even look like PT did, but he can't use any of that stuff that he engineered PT with. That Konami owns all that. So
this shit probably wouldn't fly if this were an American company. Because if this were an American company, I'm pretty sure they'd be like, "You thought of this idea while working for us, so therefore it's ours to own."
No, I'm telling you, over here they're like they literally put in contracts that like any concept, the thoughts that you don't even if they're not concrete, if you thought of them there, they own it. Right?
Yeah, in Japan, and think about it. Who are we seeing these spiritual successor games from? Japanese games. You're not seeing it like even Igarashi. Same deal. Konami can't sue him, even though the game looks like Castlevania.
It's legal. It's legal to do an homage here, the same way it's legal to do a parody. Like you can say I was inspired by this game, and like I could come out now and say this is the spiritual success to the old Castlevania games, and they couldn't say shit because, yeah, like I play those old Castlevania games, and how they made me feel is something I'm trying to replicate. It's covered under like a homage and parody law or whatever.
But you are right though. They can't use the code or any of that shit. They can't do that. But they can make a horror game of that's first person.
I wasn't even worried about the code. I was worried about like a lot of the art that they used.
They can't do that. But it's interesting because the art they were using is from like a famous Japanese person. They could still partner with this guy too. They don't own the rights to this artist.
They could always do that. I don't think Konami would go after him anyway. It doesn't seem like Japanese companies do that. Maybe with the exception of Nintendo, I don't think anyone does that. I think if you go and say like I'm making a homage to Mario, I think they would sue you.
Oh my God! On the note of Nintendo frivolous lawsuits, I sent Tony a link to this earlier this week. Nintendo is suing a guy who had a Pokemon-themed party outside of PAX. And even after he canceled the party, they said that they want $4,000 by like the end of the month. And he was even like, I can give you $4,000 by the end of the year. And they're like, no, this month. And he's like, I don't even make any profit off this. Like I donate any of the extra money that comes in.
That's because they don't understand any of the fans. They just think everybody's like, trying to rip them off.
It's incredibly douchey, and I think it's incredibly greedy of them and douchey. Kristen told me about that, and I got annoyed because it's just like, let's sick the legal dogs at anyone trying to make money off of anything we think of, And it's like, how desperate are you? How fucking desperate are you? It's like, you find a penny on the floor, like, is that what you've come to now? Like, you have to squeeze the little guy. He's making Pokemon meetups. He's getting people interested. I'm like, dude, just go play Yu-Gi-Oh from now on. Fuck that. Yeah. It's like, then fuck Pokemon. Like, fuck them. Don't play their shit. Have other meetups. Go play Magic, dude. Like, fuck Pokemon. Then don't give them money. And tell other people that. Even from the rooftops, hey, they'll squeeze you if you play Pokemon, so don't play it.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, his comment was, I'll never do another fan party again. So, like, Nintendo didn't scare him off from buying Nintendo products. Nintendo scared him off from getting together with his fellow nerds and celebrating something he loves, which is like, fuck you, Nintendo. Just fuck you. I'm sorry to derail the show, but fuck you, Nintendo.
Yeah, they deserve that. Bullshit. There's some bullshit.
That's some bullshit.
But getting back to the question, Chris, what do you think about Kojima and all this? What do you make of it?
No, I think it's great. I think if he partners with Sony and they can make some of those ideas live, and he can keep, he probably wanted, I think he did PT as a labor of love. There was no doubt in my mind that he wanted Silent Hills to succeed, and it's too bad for Konami, sad day for you that you couldn't see that he was going to revive that fucking franchise and probably blow horror games out of the water. That would be a revolution right there, what we saw with PT. And you guys just threw that in the fucking toilet. Oh, we didn't approve this. Well, too bad for you. Now go make pachinko games, and he can go to Sony and make that shit.
Exactly. Oh, man. But, yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Kojima wouldn't be tweeting out that fucking picture without a reason. Then Yoshida's saying that statement, too, on top of it.
Yeah, I definitely think there's either they're in talks or all the talks are all done. I also noticed that there's during the has nothing to do with Sony, but I noticed that during the show, one of the shows, he was talking, kind of raving about Oculus. Now the thing is, he's also been saying stuff about making first-person game, doing some sort of Oculus-based something, a little bits here and there. I think what's going to happen is this. Sony's going to be funding some sort of game for them, and that it's going to be a game both for PC and it's going to be for PlayStation 4.
Yeah, and do you remember when PT was originally released, right? Remember those montage videos they had of people getting the shit scared out of them?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that with VR, their reactions when they can't get away with that fucking game.
You know what's going to happen is somebody will have a heart attack. They'll have to put a warning on the front, and that shit will go viral because they'll be like, no, if you play it on the Oculus Rift, it might literally give you a heart attack. And people are like, okay, I'm buying an Oculus Rift.
Exactly. That's the best advertisement right there. It's like, remember back in the day when you have a parental warning on an album, it's like, okay, I'm buying that fucking album.
Explicit lyrics, yes.
They may literally scare you to death. You're like, well, I have to try this.
Mm-hmm.
I have something to show you. Kristen brought this in. This is in the Art of Naughty Dog. I don't know if you can see it too well. I'll hold it up to the camera. But this was the concept art for that game.
Yes, thank you, Naughty Dog.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, this is what they were coming up with.
Give me that
good.
right now.
Good. Thank you, Chris. You made me feel better.
Yo, man, why isn't there any Way of the Warrior art in there?
You guys know what I really want to see, and I know that this is just like a nerd thing that's never going to happen. I want to see Kojima team up with Miyazaki and just make a hard as balls game.
Man, that would be awesome.
Here's the thing. The thing I notice about Metal Gear Solid 5. In a lot of ways, some of it seems a bit Bloodborne-ish / Souls-ish. Just for the plain fact they did the way they don't tell you certain things. Certain things you kind of have to literally go to these tapes in order to get a little bit deeper into the lore of the game.
I can see it, and like the way that I would see it is like Kojima comes in and be like, you got a really good system here going on. The only thing missing from the Bloodborne system is a good stealth mechanic. So how about this? How about we make a game where it's ridiculously hard to sneak past stuff? I mean, like, literally as hard as it would be in real life to sneak past stuff. So if you want to ninja through a whole level, you have to be super good. And then if you get caught sneaking through stuff, it is a punishing hammer of difficulty thrown down on you, and you then have your typical Souls moment. And we'll take Kojima's ability for, personal lore and mix that in with Miyazaki's ability to tell a story through the environment, and we'll tell parallel stories, one about the environment and one about a protagonist that goes through the environment. And we'll combine Miyazaki's, tough as nails, tight as a fucking rubber band combat mechanics with Kojima's awesome stealth mechanics. Like, I want to play this game. Even just talking about it, I'm getting excited.
Oh man, I found it. Way of the Warrior. There it is.
Yes, that's the only thing. I remember I've looked at that book before. Find the way, Noble Johnny John. Find the way of the warrior.
All right, let's move on here.
Also, before you move on,
go ahead.
Does anybody else really want to see Kojima make a fantasy game, or is it just me?
Because
from the minute I saw fucking horses in Metal Gear, I was like, oh, please make a fantasy game.
But he has, but it's been for like, what, GBA? What did that light Boktai? That was
Boktai, which was essentially you had to use this weird sun sensor on the
I remember
thing.
that.
Yeah,
it was like a vampire game.
Yeah, it had a light and dark aspect, and it had a sensor on it. Yeah, so if he continued that, maybe, but he has done one.
Not to derail things so much, but I'm very excited about what Kojima's going to be able to do now that he isn't forced, and let's just be honest, forced to make Metal Gear games now. It's going to be very interesting to see what this man's going to do. He has the whole world open to him now. I really am excited to see what he's going to give us.
Metal Gear is essentially just is it dead now?
Yeah, he's not on it. It's dead. It's dead.
I mean, it can't live without him, right?
Konami's probably going to try to pull some bullshit, but let's just be honest. Metal Gear Solid 5 is the real last Metal Gear game.
It's going to be, I think they're going to continue. Of course, they're going to continue to make them because it's, whatever. But I think at the same time, it's going to be a very difficult time for whoever takes over that franchise.
Did they end the narrative on an end note? Like
they ended it. Yes, if this is the final Metal Gear game, narratively, yes, that's a good enough ending. Now, granted, there were some snafus with 5 without getting into spoilers because of the whole thing with Konami and stuff. So the game wasn't as finished as it could have been, but it's a good enough ending for the series. So
it's good enough that if you're a Kojima fan, you can check out and just tell yourself that this was the end of the story.
Hey, that's what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure they're gonna make a Metal Gear Solid 6. That's something that's
not canon to you.
Nope, that's not canon. That's somebody else's shit now.
I mean, dude, look at the games. Even while he was at Konami, look at when they tried to spin off Metal Gear. Look at Metal Gear Acid. What a piece of garbage, like a
piece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like now he's not there. So I don't even want to know what this is gonna come of Metal Gear.
Yeah, like I said, like I'll and I'm just being honest here. I'll get a review copy. I'm not buying that shit. That's not Kojima's. I'm not buying that shit.
I'll play it. I'm not paying money for it.
Exactly. All right. Next, Mike Madden here. Question to me. After seeing the holiday Xbox One bundles, are you still getting one to play Tomb Raider? Now here's the thing. Earlier this year, I was like, hey, if Xbox comes out with a really good bundle, I'm gonna, get it because I want that Tomb Raider. Things have changed a little bit. I need a new fucking PC. So no Xbox for me this year. Even though when I saw that Tomb Raider bundle, okay, it's $400. You get both Tomb Raider games. What a 1 terabyte hard drive. I'm like, man, fuck. Like, that's a good deal. That is a great deal. If it wasn't for the fact that because I do a lot of video editing now, people will see that this week.
Very soon.
Very soon, and you guys already seen. I do so much video editing. My computer cannot hang with it. Like I rendered like was it 12 videos today, and it took me literally almost 12 hours. Like, and the videos were like 3 minutes each or something. My computer can't hang, so I need to upgrade this shit. So that's more of a priority than an Xbox, because this is how I get you guys cool shit.
And then there's the eventual question. Well, if you get a new PC, does that mean you're going to be playing some PC games?
Oh, yeah, I've been getting that. No, I'm not, because PC is for work, consoles are for gaming. No, I'm not doing that. However, I will say this, though, because we get a lot of fucking Steam games. If I have to review a game just because we can't, I'll do it, but it's not going to be like a regular thing for me. I'm not going to be going, hey, let me get Batman Arkham Asylum 2, you know, for PC. I'm not going to be one of those guys. But if I have to get like a Steam game because it needs to be reviewed, I'll do that. But I'm not going to become Brett. You hit on this last week. I am a console gamer. Like I like the experiences that console gaming gives me, and that's fine. But I'm not going to be like a PC gamer. I want to upgrade my PC so it could render videos. Even though I do realize that if it could render videos, it's probably going to be able to play really good games. And I also realized this because originally I was like, okay, I'm going to invest like $800 in this thing. Then I realized, wait a minute, if I could literally build like a PS4 like capable machine for $400, $500, that'll probably get me what I need, won't it? So maybe I don't have to spend that much money. Maybe $500, $600 I could get.
Yeah, Tony, I really think that you ought to upgrade because like
I have no choice. I have no choice but to
Well, that's
upgrade.
what I'm saying. As you're doing it, like you can upgrade to a kind of machine where you can invest more money in. And like since you're already gonna have the system, you should try a small foray into the PC gaming world. But I agree with you for the most part. Like if we had a discussion about like, now you've got the PC gaming down, like here's what we can do. Like, okay, Tony, what kind of PC game do you want to play? Do you like building worlds? Nope. Okay, do you like multiplayer games? Nope. All right, do you like games with interesting and new mechanics? No. Do you like games without combat? Nope. Do you like unscripted survival games? Nope. Well, there's Assassin's Creed on PC, Tony. That's what you're fucking left with.
Yeah, Brett, you hit it on the head because you and most people don't realize this shit. It's like a lot of the PC only experiences I'm not really into. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just not into that stuff. Like even when I'm playing Talos right now, right? And there's a lot of reading just to find out the story. I'm like, can I just play the game, please? Like I don't want to read all this shit. It's like it became like a text adventure. I don't like text adventures, And yeah, I don't really care about MMOs. I don't care about RTS games. They're just not my thing. I've played them all, obviously. Like I probably played more MMOs than I have RTS games. Like
okay, well no, you played one RTS on sticks.
No, I mean, on sticks, you fuck. No, I've never played an RTS on a PC. I will give you that. The only RTS I've ever played have been on console and stuff.
Yeah, an RTS is not worth playing on a PC. There's a reason they're on consoles. There's a reason they don't release RTS.
I still want to play that Dune.
Yeah. But even then, the whole thing is like, oh, just build your, like I said, I had my fun with fucking Command and Conquer. I'm good. I don't need that again. And MMOs is like, I don't want to give away my entire life to this one game. Like, no. Yeah, I'm not into that. So PC gaming, I will not be doing. The only PC game I will be doing, if I have to, is for review purposes, just so we get our quota out there and stuff. But yeah, no Xbox for me because
God forbid you might find a game that you like and have an experience that you might like.
Hey man, I can't do that. I ain't got that kind of time.
Tony's clearly open to the idea.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, no Xbox for me this year, which kind of sucks. That bundle was pretty good. Anyway, moving on to the last two questions here. Mr. Bob Beluga, what do you think of Phil Spencer's comments on why Halo 5 won't have split screen? He basically said because people don't really have the time to get together and stuff. Everybody's working different places and stuff. They don't have the time to get together to one place and actually play couch co-op. They're basically the same shit I've been saying. Like, this is why you don't see couch co-op anymore. It's just more efficient for you to play with your buddies online because you can't have your buddies coming over because they all have wives and all this other shit, kids and all that stuff. You can't get all together.
You can't have 4 people on the couch waving remotes and what? We can't all meet in the living room? We don't all live in the same neighborhood? What? It's not 1992?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Phil Spencer said times have changed.
Yep.
I wonder if Nintendo will listen to that.
Well, I had to get that jab in there. But yeah, the answer is pretty straightforward. And then they even said, like, the development team looked at it, it's like, okay, most people on Xbox Live play through Xbox Live. They don't do couch co-op. And again, remember, they have a limited amount of budget here. So it's like, okay, they're going to spend more time developing. Going back to our first question about the DualShock, are you going to spend all this money developing this thing that not a lot of people are going to play, or you're going to focus on the shit people are going to play. So that's why couch co-op is on. I know people are upset about it, but hey, get with the times, right?
I'm upset about it. Fuck you. Who the fuck are you, Tony, to say get with the times, Grandpa? Jesus Christ.
You tell me that shit all the time, man. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Like, Tony's telling me to get with the times. Jesus Christ, I've fallen behind. No, like, it's... am I the only person who plays video games with their wife? Like, is that really that rare of a thing?
No. It's not that the split screen, I think, is essential in certain things. He's saying from their perspective, and maybe it's a little bit of an excuse. Maybe they just didn't want to be bothered wasting the cycles to code in the split screen.
Well, they just want you to buy another Xbox.
Right.
That's what it's been about since the fucking beginning.
Yeah, but I said this before when we brought this up. I said, yeah, you get an extra Xbox, you get another Xbox Live account. That's money in their pocket. So the incentive is for you to get on Xbox Live and get your friend on Xbox Live, right? That's why they don't do it. Could they have done it? Sure. They just didn't want to waste the development time. There's more money in their pocket if you and your wife both have an Xbox and both have Xbox Live. That's win-win for them.
Yeah.
But there are games, that work. Co-op, and I do like that. But I think for the most part, especially when you're talking about something specifically Halo, I think that they're looking at it as, okay, in a broader sense, more people play this online with their buddies,
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, this is a perfect example where if I hadn't broken up with Halo, this would be Halo breaking up with me. They're like, oh, okay, so clearly the way that I play video games isn't important to you, so you went ahead and took out one of the features that I find most important in a lot of video games, so clearly you don't want my fucking money. It's kind of exactly what Nintendo did with me. It's like, no, I want other people's money, not yours.
But again, seeing it from their perspective, and not a lot of people are playing couch co-op, and they got to,
but you know what? Like, Halo is one of those things that it's kind of the last bastion. It's a multiplayer game. Like, a lot of people buy Halo for the multiplayer experience.
And they are getting multiplayer. Yeah, but I know that, and there's a lot of people that were very vocal about it. But at the same time, the majority is playing Halo multiplayer online. Understand?
Yeah, I know that's what they tell you.
Are you saying they're lying?
I'm saying that I don't think that I think if you looked at the numbers, I don't think that the amount of people who play couch co-op would be as dismissive as they imply it to be. Like, they imply only a very small fraction of people play couch co-op. I would say more than 20% people play Halo co-op, at least sometime, and I would say semi-regularly, probably 40%. Half the fun of playing Halo is you go over and your friend's playing. You're like, hey man, can I jump in? And then you both jump in split screen on the one game. Like, Halo is one of those games like GTA used to be, where you can just come over and your friend can jump in and play with you. Like, that's half the fun. And now that you're seeing more, gaming couples or people or older people, like, not everybody owns a separate fucking system. So I don't think it's as dismissive as they make it sound. Like, I don't think it's, just old people play couch co-ops. That's just something like one out of every 50 people does. Like, no, I don't think so. I think it's just you're seeing most, as in over 50% of people, over 50% of the time, people are playing over Xbox Live, which I would absolutely believe, because most of the time when you play Halo, you don't have a friend in your living room. I don't have a friend in my living room 80% of the time I play video games, but the 20% that I do, I'd still like that fucking option, so I don't necessarily think that their math adds up the way that they say it does.
But if it's only, let's go with your math though, if it's only 20% of the people, that's a pretty...
It's not even only 20% of the people, it could be 80% of the people 20% of the time.
I don't know if that's the case though, because the thing is, like, and I'm just going from my personal experience, most of the people I know, they don't have people over playing games. They have lives now. They're all,
yeah, because you guys live in New York, where it takes 45 minutes to get fucking anywhere.
No, it doesn't. What are you talking about, man? We get anywhere in like.
Oh man, you can get to the city in 30 minutes. What you talking about?
Dude, I have friends over at least.
Get your numbers right.
I have friends over at least once a week. I had Colby over earlier this week. My buddy Clay came over like 5-6 days ago. Like, I was super pissed when I tried to play.
Man, you could get here in 15 minutes. What are you talking about?
Well, then why the fuck don't you guys leave your house?
Because we're busy doing shit. We're adults now.
Man, I spend most of my day coloring comic books or doing some sort of drawing. I don't want to go nowhere.
You guys are going to play video games for 2 hours together, right? Why not take the 15 minutes to go over and hang out with them face to face? You're already setting time out aside your day.
And most games don't have two players.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it's more efficient to do it all over the internet. That's why, you know.
It's
Yo, man,
it's more efficient, but then you're not hanging out with your buddy.
Yeah, but again, you know, your buddy's probably doing work and his wife's probably bugging him about some bullshit. You know, you got shit you got to do, so it's just more efficient. Just do it faster.
I mean, just because you're a misanthrope doesn't mean the rest of us don't hang out with motherfuckers every once in a while.
So Manny's a misanthrope too. He doesn't have time for that shit either.
It's a rare thing when I get to see Tony in real life.
Yeah,
It's usually eating pizza.
Yeah.
Here's my point, Tony. Let's say this. Like, here's my point. How often do you eat pizza, Tony?
Like probably once a month when I hang out with Manny.
So let's say you eat pizza once a month, and Manny eats pizza once a week, and Chris eats pizza once a week, and I, as a pizza company, look at this and say, okay, at any given time, between 10 to 15% of people are eating pizza. According to that math, I can go ahead and strike pizza off the menu, and it's not really going to be a big deal because only 10 to 15% of the people are at any given time are eating pizza.
But if you have a pizza restaurant, you take pizza out of the equation. That's kind of stupid.
I didn't say you own a pizza restaurant. You own a restaurant.
You own an Italian restaurant. Hey.
Yeah. So just because you're not seeing the numbers, and that's the people can twist information to mean any number of things that want. Like, I would not be surprised at all to hear that generally at any given time there are more people playing Xbox Live by themselves. Like, if they're playing multiplayer, they're alone in their living room playing over Xbox Live. I can see that happening more often than people playing split screen by the very nature. But when I own Halo, I play more online by myself than I do when friends come over. But that doesn't mean that I don't value the experience of being able to have my friend jump in with me. That doesn't mean that's not why I really fucking own the game. And that, yeah, I'll pass time on it otherwise, but like, I really enjoy playing with my wife, or I really enjoy playing with my buddy, or I really enjoy split screening. And it's a great game to have so that somebody can come over and you'd be like, hey man, you want to shoot some motherfuckers? Sure, we'll shoot some motherfuckers. You know, it's kind of like Gears of War that way. So just because you can come out and say that at any given time more people are not using this feature than are using it doesn't mean that it's a legitimate excuse to get rid of it, especially when you take into account what Chris said, in that it's in their best interest to say, or it's in their best interest to strike this from the list of things that you get so that they make more money. So what they're telling you is they're essentially fucking you over, but it doesn't matter because, trust them, not that many people care.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you know, because you're kind of basing this off your personal experiences. You have a lot of your
I'm basing this off of the reaction of the internet. Like, clearly, if so many people don't use this feature, then why is so much of the goddamn internet pissed off about it?
Well, I mean, yeah, that is a good point, but don't you think it might be just people just, you know, venting as always? You know, maybe the silent majority. I don't know.
Yeah, because I've never known Xbox to give misleading information or to blatantly lie to me when it affects their bottom line sales numbers. That's way less likely than everybody on the internet spontaneously getting their panties twitched.
Yeah, but no, like I said, like from my personal experience, it's like couch co-op, like really.
Yeah, but
like,
you have to understand, like you don't participate in multiplayer or co-op games anyway. This is something that they're talking to a whole group of people you're not even a part of. So you can't really understand why people are getting upset. And of course you're like, yeah, I absolutely get this, but there are people like me, I love multiplayer.
I used to do couch co-op all the time. Manny and my other friend Chris, and even Chris here used to come over. We used to play games all the time, but everybody moved on. Everybody has lives now, so it's like, okay, how do we play games? Over the internet.
Well, yeah, you guys, but I can tell you right now, like, I'm standing here, I exist, I play couch co-op all the fucking time. My friends come over, we play couch co-op all the fucking time.
All right, so I'm just telling you, so I guess we represent both sides of the spectrum then, because I'm like, okay, couch co-op, like, I've gotten games for review, and they're like, oh yeah, it has this great couch co-op. And I'm like, can I go online with it? No, it's like, this is useless to me unless I invite someone. I can't invite someone because they're fucking working. You know?
Okay,
so,
well, let me ask you this then. So if you don't use something and I do, isn't it still kind of an asshole thing to do to take it away?
It is if you and I were the only gamers, but let's say if there's 20 people that are playing couch co-op and then 80 people playing online, who should you cater to the most? You know, if you have a limited
But that's
budget.
the thing. You think that same 20 people playing online is the same 20 people always playing online. Like, it's not there's 80% of the people only playing, or excuse me, it's not like there's 80% of the people only playing by themselves Xbox Live multiplayer, and there's 20% of the people who only play with couch co-op. Like, I virtually guarantee you 80% of everybody who picks up a copy of Halo will at some point want to play split-screen co-op.
And what if they don't have anyone to split-screen co-op with?
Yeah, that's the 20% of the people. So that's why I say 80%. 80%.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I still disagree. I still think there's more people playing online than on couch co-op.
So you're saying like nobody that there's that a majority of people will never ever want to play a split screen game.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't have to because it's not they can't. Okay, it's not that they don't want to. They can't because all their buddies live elsewhere. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That's the majority.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I see it on Twitter all the
disagree.
time. All right, well, I guess we're not going to agree. I think the majority of people just cannot get together. It's just, like I said, everybody has families now, all these other lives. It's hard to get everybody into one place to play a video game. Dude, it's very difficult.
We're also over 30. Most video gamers are younger than us and don't have wives and lives and kids.
The majority of gamers are, like they said, what's the average age of a gamer? It's like 35. So most gamers are adults now. Let's just.
There are a lot of younger gamers too, and I'd be interested actually here in the comments section how many of you guys actually play video games with your friends, because I would be shocked if I were the only person who played video games in a physical location with my friends at least once every other week.
And since most of our audience are in their early 20s, yes, please sound off. Do you play couch co-op more than you play online? Please let us know.
Well, no, you can't ask that because there's not that many couch co-op games. Do you play video games physically with friends around? Do you have a friend over to your physical location and play a video game with them? Would you play a couch co-op game or a split-screen game if one were available?
Yeah, there you go. Take that. Answer in the comments. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I can see what Brett's saying, and I can also see it from the perspective of this has been a feature in Halo forever, right? They've always had this feature, and now they remove it. I think it's shitty when you lose an option that's always been there, and I think it's crappy. I kind of compare it to when in PS3, and remember the early PS3s had PS2 backwards compatibility, right? I thought that was great. I never really used it, but it was good that it was there. And what did Sony do? They went, you know what?
Nobody uses this.
Yeah, nobody uses this, and you could just buy a PS2. Look, they're small and cheap. You could just buy that. So we're going to pull that out to cut our cost. And everybody lost their fucking mind, right? It's like, why did you take this away from us? But it's like, they went, well, you don't really use it. It's like, yeah, but the option was there. It was always there, and now you took it away, so now we can't do that. Why did you do it, though? And then we found out, didn't we? Yes, they wanted to sell those games on PSN.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you see, that's the part we didn't touch on. I'm glad you brought up on it. I think people are probably mad because that feature was always there in Halo, right? And now it's gone. Now, if this was a brand new game that didn't have split screen, nobody would really care, right? But since Halo always had it, I think that's where the big problem is. But again, I see where they're coming from because I see all the time. At least from my perspective, a lot of people
really,
like, hey, yeah.
What I hear from them is blatant lip service that I would, if I were going to lie to the fucking public about why we're taking a feature away from them, that is exactly what I would say. Oh, don't worry, the game's going to run a little bit better because we're going to have better environments. We just have more processing power. The AI is probably going to be better. And nobody really uses it anyway. I know you may be the guy that uses it, but speaking to you, the guy who used it, none of your friends use it. Like, I'm going to make you feel like an outlier, an outsider, or a minority by saying that nobody really fucking uses this thing. It's not really important. You may think that it is, but you're wrong. So nobody really uses this thing. The game's probably going to be better in a way that I'm going to be vague about and not really answer for you. So just go ahead and spend the extra money because it's better for everybody that way. It's like, so you didn't fucking tell me anything except for you're taking away a feature that has always been there, and I should feel good about it.
So you basically want to tell the truth, and we all know what the truth is. Hey, we took that feature out because we don't want to spend money on it.
We don't want to spend money on it, and by us not spending money on it, it forces you to pay us more money. So we have no reason not to dick you over other than the fact that we like you, and quite honestly, we don't like you that much. So we don't actually value your business or your loyalty over the, what is it, like decade and a half that you've helped support and build this a franchise and an empire. So none of that actually means dick to our shareholders, so we're just going to take this away the nicest way possible and say it's for your own good because nobody really cares anyway. Like, I don't buy that for a fucking second, especially when they're being super vague about it. They don't give any numbers, and they're like, well, we just found that most of the time people are playing online anyway. Like, no shit, most of the time people are playing online. I have friends over less than I have I have friends over less than I don't have friends. I spend 5 nights a week not having guests over. I may spend 1 or 2 nights a week having guests over. I'm not going to play couch co-op those 5 nights a week when I'm by myself. No shit, Sherlock. The statistics say that you use Xbox Live more than couch co-op. That's the very fucking nature of the thing. And now you're going to turn around and tell me because that's how the numbers add up and because you can make it sound a certain way that nobody's fucking using this? I don't buy that for a goddamn second. Not for one fucking second. You should look at the numbers and find that couch co-op is being used 10 to 15% as much as online. That means your game's working correctly because nobody fucking lives, or very few people live in a house where they play video games with a friend every night. So unless you and your wife are super into Halo, that shit ain't happening. But that is going to happen sometimes. And that you and your wife are super into Halo, you are a fucking power gaming couple. You are on there every night. You are part of the product. You are making those servers live. You are giving other people a challenge. You are evangelizing the game. You are telling your friends about it. So you are taking your most passionate customers and just dicking them over because their cries will get lost in the din of everybody else because you can fucking get away with it. And that's not good business. It just isn't. I don't care if it doesn't affect you, or I don't care if it doesn't affect your friend. You're affecting people, and people who have supported you, people who love this game, people who spend a lot of time with this shit, people whose lives it is. You are dicking over your most passionate part of your fan base, and that should never, ever be okay. And quite frankly, I'm a little bit pissed that half of the internet sees you going, well, it's the big fucking deal. It doesn't affect me. Well, no shit, it doesn't affect you. You were supposed to be pissed about things that don't affect you. The whole then they came for me thing shouldn't ever fucking happen. We all need to raise our voices before they come to dick us over. And then when they come to dick us over, like, well, why isn't anybody saying anything? Because you didn't say anything when they went to dick everybody else over. Because we're so fucking conflicted and infighting that we're not actually worried about the fact that we're slowly being fucking butt raped with not a fucking drop of lube. Because we're so busy bickering with each other.
Oh man.
So like, yeah, it is fucking important. They're taking away a goddamn staple of video games from a goddamn staple video game. This is a huge goddamn deal. And they're doing it by telling you that they're doing you a fucking favor. They're not doing you a favor. Like, if they're gonna fucking rape you, at least have the fucking decency to be violent about it instead of being like, don't worry, this is for your own benefit. Fuck you! What do you think, I'm an idiot? I'm not an idiot. If you had the statistics to back this shit up, you would have put the statistics out there instead of being a vague asshole about it. So don't tell me that you're fucking me and doing me a favor. At least do the fucking right thing and saying, this is best for our bottom line. Fucking deal with it.
By the way, I got to quote Chris right now. He goes, if I had a scouter for Brett's rant, it would have exploded off my face right now. And
over 9,000!
And I want you people to fully understand and appreciate the fact that Brett just defended fucking Halo. Okay? Think about that. Halo, Microsoft. We're supposed to be the Sony down around here.
Dude, Halo's a staple. Like, and they talk about Halo, like, in that same fucking article, they talk about Halo being around in, like, 2030, and how it's going to be a lifelong thing, like fucking Mickey Mouse or Mario.
Or
like,
Star Wars,
you really want to build a long-term brand franchise like this? Quit fucking over the people who are buying into it. You're not George Lucas. You can't pull that shit off. And he only did it because he waited 30 fucking years to do it. Because nobody thought he was playing that kind of long con. Nobody! And he got away with 3 fucking movies before we all found out what a jackass he is. And then he checked out and isn't making Star Wars movies anymore. So unless you want fucking Halo to follow that crap-ass trajectory, let's get our shit together, alright? Put it in a bag, take it to the store, just get our fucking shit together.
The call to arms. Love it. All right, and the last question here, since Sony recently stated they would like to continue working with From Software, what do you hope to see from them in the future? Bloodborne 2? There you go.
You know what? I as much as I'd like to see a Bloodborne 2, I would like to see them travel the road of the Demon Souls.
We'll bring that back. Demon Souls 2? What about was it King's Quest, right? Bring that shit back.
Oh,
God.
No, that doesn't need to come back. I'm sorry.
King's Quest, they already brought it back, actually. They just remastered it.
No, he means Kingsfield.
Oh, Kingsfield. Kingsfield. I'm sorry,
okay.
Kingsfield. Yeah, Kingsfield. Yeah, bring that back. The original one from Software.
No, I think
Miyazaki could make a baller Gundam game. I forget he made a mech game. Armored Core, I want to say.
No, you know what I want to see?
Was it Front Mission or Armored Core?
Why don't they bring back Tenchu?
That should be a Kojima thing.
Yeah, he just makes Tenchu. I have recreated Tenchu.
Oh man, I don't know. Here's the only problem I have with Bloodborne or the Souls series is sometimes like I love the games, but my poor heart can only take like one Souls game at a time. Like I can just devour a Souls game, and then I need to go play some Skyrim or something for a while because my heart will fucking explode if I just go from Souls game to Souls game to Souls game. So like I'd kind of like to see maybe something with the difficulty curve, but without the holy shit, what the fuck is that? I need to crap my pants. Like maybe a little bit more brighter adventure-y kind of Dark Souls. Like
It's like, hey, this world is so happy. Oh my God, we're inside of the inside of a Cthulhu monster's dreams. Ah.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't mind seeing like a standard fantasy, like maybe he could do a great Sword Art Online game where you're like, no pressure. There's not like the world is ending and like my psyche is being torn apart. But the action's still difficult and that's fun. It's still a challenge. Like a Tenchu game would be a good example, like where it's difficult, but not I'm going to have a brain aneurysm. I need to take a break for a minute. Because something that looked like the skin inside of a uvula turned, fucking inside out and put on a tiny pair of legs just ripped my head from my shoulders. I don't know what's going on.
It's because you're getting too much insight.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. He can do a game with a little less insight for me. Just, a breather game.
Just turn down the brutality.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just spacing out the games, right? Maybe just do that. You get one a year or something, or maybe one every 2 years, or
no, just change the setting. Like, I'd love to see him do a sci-fi game. Just not some. I'd like to see him do a not horror game, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, You can keep the roguelike, you can keep the brutality of it. Like, make a gladiator game. Like, you know how hard it is to actually fight off 4 guys at once? Like, you don't have to make it God of War. You can still make it like, holy shit, 4 guys with spears. I am fucking toast. Like, you can make it equally as hard. Just you don't need to make it seem like, just some horrible acid-induced nightmare every time.
I just thought
don't get me wrong, I love that about the Souls series. I'm just saying that if we're going to do something also, like, it can also be a little lighter.
Yeah, and on that note, I just thought about, imagine Dead Space by Miyazaki. Holy shit.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't want to see. Like, and that's one thing about...
You don't want to see Miyazaki space?
No, and that was one of my piece about The Witcher. Like, The Witcher's world was expertly crafted and beautiful and looked natural, but holy fuck, it was depressing. Like, this place looks like Poland, and I know it's because the developers live in Poland, but don't they know this is the worst place in the world?
Shit.
Do you not know that pretty much, like, there are a few places in the world where you settle in and look at the landscape and you're like, this place is just a shithole. Like, most of Russia, a good chunk of Poland, and Antarctica. And parts of Alaska. Although those are actually kind of pretty sometimes. Like, the landscape there isn't bad. But, like, Poland? Like, that place makes you want to kill yourself. And they accurately depicted it, but that just means...
I thought Poland... Or you get... Hold on, Brett, because you know you're bad with geography. Are you talking about the right country here, first of all? 'Cause isn't Poland, like, a nice country now that they don't have communism and all that?
I'm talking about the landscape, the scenery. It's very much got that, and I feel this way about most of the East Coast too. It's like dreary and gray, and like, don't get me wrong, it's well for like a mystery novel or a Silent Hill kind of thing. But you know what I mean when I say Silent Hill is clearly set on the East Coast, because that shit is not going to happen on the West Coast.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I always thought Silent Hill was like somewhere in the Midwest, like some really scary backwoods shit. I'm like, I don't know.
There's an ocean there.
Is there an ocean? I never played Silent Hill, so I don't know. But that's from the promo. That's what it looked like. It would seem like either like a Midwestern or like a Southern kind of city and stuff, like with weird mist and shit. Basically what I imagine a hick town to be.
No, that's not what they look like at all. Hick towns are actually very pretty, believe it or not. It's just the people that are awful.
Yeah, actually, here's the thing, not to offset it too much, I actually did go to, like, upstate New York, like, a couple weeks ago and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is, like, hickish, man. Like, there's a house every 100 miles or so, and there's mountains everywhere. I'm like, this is scary shit. Like, I need, like, technology.
Mountains are scary? What's wrong with you?
Yetis could live in mountains. You don't know what could live in those crazy
You're afraid of a mythical monster. Jeez.
Hey, you never know what's in a mountain. I'm like, can I go back to the city now?
You know what? You know what's in the mountains? People. Animals.
Crazy.
Crazy people and bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you guys get these ideas about people in the sticks?
I
from
don't know.
movies
I don't
mostly.
listen. I don't know where he gets it from. Seriously.
Listen, man, I
When
saw
you actually
Deliverance, man.
As a veteran of many a road trip, when you actually get out there, they're just very sweet, simple people. They have not encountered an idea outside of their normalcy. So if like you show up with a mohawk, they're just like, I don't know what to fucking do about this.
Brett, wait, hold on. You're showing up with a mohawk. I've driven to like places like Pottersville in New York. When you show up with brown skin and you see a guy wearing a fucking camo outfit with duck shot walking around with a beard, he looked like he came off of Duck Dynasty, then I want to get back in the car and go right back to Queens, man.
Yeah, no, that I get, but Tony's not brown.
Yeah,
well,
no,
I am.
Yeah,
I had a
Yeah,
problem.
he's brown. No, I
Yeah,
was
no,
okay,
Chris.
though.
Like I would obviously admit, like Chris, like stay out of like certain parts of certain states, you know, at certain times of the day.
Listen, I gotta stop for gas at some points. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. That's it. It's like, yo, yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want to live through Deliverance.
Yeah, exactly. And Brett, remember, I'm the person that gets weirded out by a stranger telling me hi. It's like, hi, why are you?
Yeah, no, that's why you would freak out, because you'd be out there, they'd be like, hi, how you doing? And you'd just be like, I don't know what to do with this situation.
Yeah, it was like when I was there, when I was coming back, I had a full conversation with the waitress lady. It's like, okay, I guess that's how they do things around here. But she was cool, you know. And actually, it was like an old school kind of pub kind of thing, like super old school. And here's the thing that fucked me up. It was like I bought a hamburger, fries, and a beer, right? This shit would normally cost me like $30. This shit was $16. I'm like, now I know why people live in these places. So this is cheap.
Well, no, I mean that's still expensive. I mean,
yeah, that's still really expensive, Tony.
No, dude, because I'm used to paying $30. It's like, okay,
oh come on, you go to Cheeseburger, you don't pay like $30.
I pay $30 at Cheeseburger, you know.
But
that.
then you see how big the burgers there are, like huge burgers. You're getting like an $8 burger there.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going off track here. Actually. Imagine if he has a Silent Hill type of game. That'd be interesting. But yeah, we're trying to get away from a scary game, or at least Brett is. I don't care. Like, do a scary game. Why not? Actually, here's the thing. Why not do a scary game? Because those games are already scary enough as it is, right? It's just a challenge of why not an actual real horror game? It's like where you're not in control.
Do you not see the horrible things in that game? It is a horror game.
No, but I mean, it's a horror game where you still have power. It's like, okay, I can still kill these things, right?
Oh God, don't turn into one of these. I'm castrated as a player.
It's an action-adventure at that point.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what if we make a game
that's
like
the
Outlast?
That's the scariest part about any of those Souls games is that you have this horrible monster and you're totally not empowered.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt empowered in Bloodborne.
See, that's the thing. Like, I hate games where like you have no attack. Like, I like games like Dark Souls where like, oh, you have an attack. You're like, do I have a sword? They're like, yeah, you have a sword. They're like, so I'm good to go, right? And Dark Souls is like, yeah, you're good to go. Have fun.
You're dead.
I'm seeing Brett in the like wheelchair of Bloodborne. Hey, you're great. Why don't you go leave the dream? Take your sword and have fun, buddy.
German.
Dude, it's like in Dark Souls 1 where they're like, oh, you got yourself a weapon, huh? You killed yourself a couple bad guys? Here, go in this door. There's a demon in there. You'll be fine. So like the first 6 times you're like, I can't kill him. This game's like, yeah, you're totally supposed to kill him. That's what you're supposed to be doing right now.
Oh my God.
All right. Anything else about this one? What else do you want to see him do from Software and Sony?
Dude, you made the ultimate suggestion. If Konami, do yourself a favor, start selling off your properties and give these guys Castlevania.
Yes. There you go. That's what I want to see from them. They already made Castlevania, so why not make it a real
it's
Castlevania?
Official,
now? Yeah, it's official Castlevania. There you go. All right.
I would love to see a. Well, no. It's tough because they do a certain type of game. Like I was about to say, like I'd love to see like even like the same Souls-y kind of thing set in like a weird techno future like Shadowrun kind of universe kind of deal. But I don't know how you would do that. Like Miyazaki's games almost by definition have to be desolate and isolated. And I don't know if you could put his game. What would his games look like in a bustling kind of thing where people are alive?
The city would be empty.
Yes.
There'd be an empty city. There'd be some sort of catastrophe. Maybe a nuclear winter that created a whole bunch of monsters.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, it was once bustling, but now no more. And then
there's a whole bunch of lore that's hidden inside of guns.
Yeah.
It's done.
Bringing it all the way back. You know what, Miyazaki? Don't fucking change anything. Do what you do best. Don't try and do a little bit of everything. Excel in your little niche, because you know what? You fucking rock it there. Just do more Soulsy type stuff. I'm not gonna get sick of it.
There you go. All right.
Malcolm McDowell to read any of the, to be the new, trainer person. David Warner.
All right, so let's finish this up. A couple of post-show things here. So again, Throwdown will be recording on Wednesday night because of the Comic-Con. So you're gonna have it on Thursday instead of Friday. So just be aware of that.
Yes. So we're gonna be a little bit early, but for all you guys out there, you're still going to essentially get Throwdown the week of New York Comic-Con.
Yes, and speaking about Comic-Con, Manny, where can they find you?
Yes, you will be able to find me and Kari Randolph at table I-9. So that's you go into the artist alley, which is a section on the side of the building, and you go through there, and you can find me and Kari. We sell all kinds of stuff. I'll have my little art book called Solid Zero there with me. I actually did a video showing showing the whole book, so you can see what the book looks like, so you can see what you're getting in for. For those of you online who are interested in picking it up, as of now, I don't have any sort of plans, but there will be some sort of plan to get that to you. So yeah, but you can also, if you are interested in the artwork in there, I do have a Society 6 site, which is linked on my Twitter and everywhere else you can find me, and you can pick up some of the artwork that's actually inside of the book. And I will be updating the for each day of New York Comic Con. I will be uploading a piece that I have, a special print that I have currently on the show floor. So Thursday you'll probably get the quiet picture that I did, and then Friday you'll get one of it'll be like that. So lots of plans.
Yeah. Yes, and the last thing, speaking about plans, I'm trying to get this off the ground. So if you want to hang out with me on during Comic-Con and you're going to the show, let me know on Twitter and stuff. You're probably gonna be me and a bunch of other gaming people and stuff. Let's go to dinners, have fun, but you're paying for your own shit. I'm not paying for you. So yeah, come hang out. It'll be fun. It's like, because I think we hung out with Dio one time. That was about it. But I know there's more of you guys in New York and stuff. So if you're attending, let me know on Twitter and we'll set something up. We'll go to like a restaurant that's around the area and just drink and be merry and all that good stuff. It's gonna be a fun week. And throw down your questions. The next one, unaffected by any of this, it'll be on regular time and all that, 10:30 p.m. And all that. We'll probably be very tired, but we're still going to do the show for you, so don't worry about that.
We're all good. The one great thing about sitting down and talking with your friends is that you're sitting down and talking with your friends.
Exactly. It's as simple as that. All right, so let's finish this. Thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comments section on the Coalition or on YouTube. Be sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and the YouTubes. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Comic books! Comic books!
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
And Brett Murdoch. Oh, where's Brett?
It's been real. I've been yelling into a muted mic.
Oh, no. All right, guys, later.
Peace.
Deuces.
Later, guys.